Hey Truckers, here is part 7 of Crazy Detective. Let's dive into the video. Zhao Yu, coming out of the interrogation room, meowing very openly, voiced her concerns. All of those questions were just regular questions. What were you thinking? Are you just wasting time? What? Zhao Yu licked his lips. Are you questioning my professionalism? I could tell that you're trying to help Lin Meifeng. Meowing was very serious, but none of those questions could be used as evidence. Do you get it? Without evidence, Lin Meifeng is still our primary suspect for murdering Jian Wenli. Team leader Meow. Zhao Yu suddenly spoke seriously to Meowing. You say you need evidence, but I know that you feel the same way I do. If you didn't want to help Lin Meifeng, you wouldn't have called me out so late. That's why I'm regretting it. Miao Ying's reaction was lightning fast. If I didn't call you out so late, I wouldn't have been puked all over by you. I keep thinking if I was your nemesis in your past life. Even though Zhao Yu had been confused while he was puking, after sorting through the facts, he finally remembered what had happened and explained, I'm really sorry about that. It really wasn't on purpose. I drank too much, and then rode in a car. All that added with the anxiety. It's fine, we still have business to do. Miao Ying cut him off impatiently. What do we do about our case? Should I write my report now, or? No, definitely not. Zhao Yu hurriedly said, I clearly know that Lu Pengfei and Lin Meifeng did not murder Jian Wenli. The real killer is someone else. That's just a guess. Although her confession is different from the record we have, Lin Meifeng already confessed. Miao Ying refuted. But you just saw it. Zhao Yu was rather excited. Lin Meifeng wasn't even sure if Jian Wenli was alive or not when she stabbed her. We have to investigate it further. Seeing Zhao Yu so excited, Miao Ying watched him seriously and turned quiet, unable to say no. Her sharp eyes suddenly turned eager. In that moment, Zhao Yu felt a certain kinship with Miao Ying. He could feel that his and Miao Ying's thoughts were exactly the same. Zhao Yu, Miao Ying looked around and pulled Zhao Yu into an empty area before speaking to him very seriously. I think that as your senior I must warn you. With the current situation, you have to understand something. Huh? Zhao Yu was confused. Why was Miao Ying being so secretive? What did she want to say? If we close the case right now, Miao Ying spoke seriously, the two of us would get endless benefits, rewards, diplomas, credits, and whatnot. If we don't close it now, do you know what we'll have to face? Do you? Find EU chapters on nv/lbi.com. Oh. Zhao Yu had not thought that far. He was a new transfer, so obviously he did not know everything. Just some commotion would be the best result. Miao Ying spoke like an experienced officer and lectured him, not closing this case now means the job was incomplete and the murderer is still out there. Think about it, if this murder exchange case became publicized, what do you think would happen? There would be a huge commotion. First, think about Jian Wenli's family. What would they think about this? It's already been 10 years, but we're bringing up the case again. How could Jian Wenli's family sit and do nothing? They will continue to pressure the police with words and actions. If we find the culprit, everything will be fine, but if we don't, then we're doomed. Secondly, if we don't close the case, how will the higher-ups look at us? Even though we've worked so hard and are so close to the truth, will the higher-ups approve of you? In their eyes, if the case isn't closed, then all of our hard work doesn't mean anything. Understand? By that time, not only would we not get any benefits, but they might even drag our names through the dirt. Wow. Zhao Yu was secretly stunned, and he began to look at Miao Ying with admiration. He could never imagine that even though Miao Ying looked so young, she was quite experienced in the ways of the world. Finally, Miao Ying's lecture continued. For us to be digging up this case again is a huge insult to all of the investigators who worked on the case before. If we dig this case up, but cannot solve it, it's not just an issue about being a laughingstock. Think about it, those officers have already become higher-ups. If they get dirt on us, the consequences will be unimaginable. TSK, Zhao Yu shook his head. Who would have thought that such a simple case could have such backlash? Now he finally realized that investigating cold cases was truly a tough job with little reward. Stupid Liu Changhu, to transfer me to such a shitty place was simply too evil. I'll definitely get back at him later. Zhao Yu thought. Zhao Yu, Miao Ying spoke reasonably, much like an older sister. As a part of the cold case investigation unit, I think you already know how hard it is to investigate old cases. If we continue, then we have to start from the beginning. Can you imagine the difficulty? This is just adding more suffering for ourselves, with no benefit. Zhao Yu obviously understood after hearing all of Miao Ying's points. Ever since his transfer, he had realized that investigating a cold case was not just a little difficult. There, I've said everything I wanted to say. Miao Ying continued, then, now I want your opinion. Should we close the case of Jian Wenli or not? No. Definitely not. To Miao Ying's astonishment, Zhao Yu did not even hesitate as he spoke. We have to be able to face our own conscience. We didn't investigate the case thoroughly, how can we just close it? Besides, if Lin Meifeng really is innocent, then wouldn't we have framed an innocent person? Team leader Miao, don't you worry, offending people is my specialty, but even if I offend everyone I know, I will still find the truth. Zhao Yu's answer could not be described as emotional, but his stance was still loud and clear. According to her understanding of Zhao Yu, Miao Ying would have expected Zhao Yu to be easily swayed. She never would have imagined that Zhao Yu would make this decision. Because of this, Miao Ying could not help but pause. Her opinion of Zhao Yu changed drastically. But Zhao Yu's next sentence nearly stopped Miao Ying in her tracks. He said, but in the end, my slaughter case is already closed, and Jian Wenli's case is completely your responsibility. We might as well investigate it completely. If it works out, then both of us will be benefited. If not, team leader Miao will probably be held responsible instead of me. God, Miao Ying cursed in her head, stupid Zhao Yu, there's really no saving the incompetent. As an experienced detective and captain of the key case investigation unit, Miao Ying had always been firm and stringent. No matter what Zhao Yu's attitude was, she would get to the bottom of Jian Wenli's case and seek out the truth. She would never close the case abruptly. The reason why Miao Ying asked for Zhao Yu's opinion was to test him and to tease him. She had not expected that Zhao Yu's attitude would be so firm. She could not help but to look at him differently. This guy seemed so arrogant and sullen, and he did things without any good reasons. Who would have guessed that he was so principled? Although Miao Ying had exaggerated her concerns, they were not completely invalid. If they wanted to get to the bottom of this case, they had to be prepared to step on landmines. They each represented their respective police teams, and the pressure on them could not be understated. If they could not find the Jian Wenli's real murderer, they would be in trouble. However, Zhao Yu had also gotten it wrong. He had thought that Miao Ying had taken the initiative to ask him because she needed his help, and that he had to go search for clues with her that day. As it turned out, Miao Ying only wanted to discuss the investigation plans with him and did not intend to let Zhao Yu be involved with the actual investigation. Miao Ying was the team captain, and she had agents under her. There was no need Zhao Yu's help. Ruyang Branch was different from Rongyang Branch. Due to a smaller jurisdiction, their key case investigation unit was not divided into Team A and Team B, and they did not have any cold case department. Therefore, all the cases were directly handled by the captain, and they did not even have a vice captain. As for the unsolved cases that had accumulated over time, the team usually investigated them when they had no other cases. Like the Slaughter case, it had also been 10 years since Jian Wenli's case was opened, and it was classified as a crucial case. Obviously, Miao Ying felt strongly about it. Now that an important suspect had finally been found, she naturally wanted to find out the truth. After hours of discussion, Miao Ying came up with the preliminary investigation plan. First, she divided the agents into 4 teams. The first team would continue to interrogate Lu Pengfei and Lin Meifeng to see if they could find any new clues. The second team would go to the forensics department to check on the evidence from the comparison report from the year the murders happened to see if there were any overlooked details. The third team would visit Jian Wenli's relatives and friends to reinvestigate the case. The fourth team would look for the agents in charge of the case that year, and check if there had been any inconsistencies during their investigation. LA Test NOVLS on n.vel/.co. Seeing Miao Ying's composed arrangements, Zhao Yu could not help but admire. Compared to himself, who was in charge of the cold case department but had no subordinates, Miao Ying was much more powerful, sending out more than 10 agents in one go. Such boldness. Zhao Yu was doubtful after he had finished admiring. Everyone has been sent out, but what about me? Officer Zhao. After making the arrangements, Miao Ying said to Zhao Yu, according to procedure, Lu Pengfei can't stay here for too long. I'll have him transferred to Rongyang Detention Center tomorrow. I will have to trouble you to sort out the information for Yu Zhigan's case, and then follow the standard procedure. Zhao Yu understood. Although the Exchange murder case had not been investigated thoroughly, he was in charge of the Uptown Slaughter case, which could now be closed. In other words, the rewards and compliments that he would receive was already certain. Then, Lin Meifeng, what do we do with her? Zhao Yu asked. Lin Meifeng is still a prime suspect in Jian Wenli's murder, Miao Ying answered. We will send her over to our detention center and continue interrogation. The normal custody period is only 1 month, but if we make an application, we can extend it by another month. That means we have to catch the real murderer within 2 months. If not, Lin Meifeng will be prosecuted for murder. 2 months. That's so long. Because of the miracle system, Zhao Yu appeared very confident. However, his words seemed very annoying to Miao Ying. Zhao Yu, what do you mean? She gave Zhao Yu a sharp glance and said sourly, are you gloating? Let me tell you, don't think that Jian Wenli's case only concerns Ruyang Branch. If the case doesn't get solved, I'll immediately report to your leaders that you stopped me from closing the case and made me reinvestigate. If I don't get anything good, then you can forget about living a good life. Wah! Zhao Yu blinked and praised Miao Ying from his heart as he watched her. This woman was really smart and did not allow herself to face any disadvantage. But looking at the way Miao Ying reprimanded him, he could not help but watch her in a daze. With her red lips and charming face, Miao Ying looked so elegant and inspiring. Huh! The case hasn't been solved even after 10 years, and you're complaining that 2 months is too long? Are you crazy? Miao Ying became angrier as she spoke. Also, although the statement was inconsistent, we are unable to prove that Lin Meifeng is innocent. If she lied intentionally, then how can we find the real murderer? Zhao Yu, hey, you. Zhao Yu was still in a daze. Miao Ying's scolding sounded pleasant to his ears, and his eyes could not help but fall on her perfect figure and then her chest. Bang! Only when Miao Ying banged her fist did Zhao Yu wake up in a startle. He quickly wiped the corner of his mouth and said to Miao Ying cheekily, "Kikik, don't worry Captain Miao. Based on my years of experience, I know that Lin Meifeng definitely did not kill anyone. The real murderer is someone else. Zhao Yu patted his chest. As for the case investigation, you can also put your mind at ease. 2 months is definitely enough time. Take your time and investigate slowly, just come find me if you have any difficulties. I'm gonna go back and shower first. I stink! He continued. Oh, if you find any clues, don't forget to inform me. Then, I make a move first. Zhao Yu turned around and yawned. It's been a tough night, I need a good sleep. Miao Ying looked at Zhao Yu's arrogant and annoying behavior and regretted her decision. She should not have asked this plague to come to her unit. That kick she had given him was too light. Having not slept for the whole night and vomiting after getting drunk, Zhao Yu was exhausted when left Ryong Branch. He wanted to go home and take a shower, then get a good sleep. However, his phone started ringing once he got in the cab. First it was Li Bainey who called him to ask how she should draft the slaughter case report. Then, Zhang Jingfeng called and asked Zhao Yu if he needed to continue checking on Yao Jia's boyfriend. Right after that, Peng Xian called him anxiously and told him to go back to the police station. The bureau chief wanted to see him. After getting many calls and hearing that the bureau chief was coming to meet him personally, Zhao Yu had to forget about going home to shower and rest, and headed straight for the police station. But as soon as he walked through the front door and into the hallway of the office, Zhao Yu realized something strange. Many investigators were looking at him weirdly. What's up? He thought. Zhao Yu could not help but be confused. Am I not wear any clothing? Or did I put on women's clothing or something? What are you all looking at? Am I that handsome? As it turned out, the news of Zhao Yu closing the slaughter case had already spread within the entire team. All of the investigators were stunned at the rumored perverted police officer. Just closing both the Taser rape case and the lost hand case back-to-back was crazy, but this guy had just entered the cold case unit and he had already closed a 10-year-old cold case, by himself nonetheless. Such an insane ability was almost unimaginable. So when they suddenly saw Zhao Yu himself, they could not help but have a strange expression as they awkwardly gazed at him. Zhao Yu was not aware of this at all. When he saw 2 female colleagues staring at him from the office, he licked his lip and asked, Hey, cuties, what are you guys looking at? Want a date with moi? Find you chapters on nv/lbi.com. The 2 girls suddenly shivered, quickly lowered their head, and escaped. Zhao Yu grinned, but as he turned around, he found himself face to face with team leader Chu Ping who was leaving the Team B office. When Chu Ping saw Zhao Yu, she paused. She looked as if she wanted to say something, but Zhao Yu spoke up before she had a chance. Oh? Isn't it team leader Chu? What's up? Did you manage to close the nursing home burglary case yet? Do you need me to help you guys? Hearing Zhao Yu's insulting words, Chu Ping simply rolled her eyes at him, then returned to her office without a word. Che! Zhao Yu simply huffed. When he saw that Team B's door was open, he originally wanted to go mock them further, but at that moment, Peng Xian was leading a group of people storming out of the Team A office. The group moved rapidly, and looked rather urgent. Seeing his colleagues from Team A coming toward him, Zhao Yu could not help but shudder a little. He thought to himself, Miss, I just solved a simple case. Do you need to come greet me so readily? But Zhao Yu quickly noticed that everyone was wearing their coat and holding their bags as if they were going somewhere in a hurry. What happened? You. Peng Xian was the first to notice Zhao Yu. She excitedly ran over with her arms wide open. Come, let me give you a kiss. Peng Xian actually made a motion to kiss him, but Zhao Yu quickly dodged to the side and laughed. No, I haven't brushed my teeth yet. Ha ha ha, Peng Xian roared with laughter and slapped Zhao Yu hard on the shoulder. you really are my lucky star. You haven't even been in the cold case investigation unit for more than a few days, but you've already closed another huge case, you rascal. Ping Xian was so excited that she did not know what to say. She simply punched Zhao Yu's shoulder hard over and over again. Yeah, Zhao really made us proud. He let us hold our heads up high as well. Lu Xueshan agreed from behind, we all have to work hard too. We will definitely capture this criminal too. Yeah. All of the other team members agreed, their spirit was at its peak. Ah. Zhao Yu finally understood. All of his colleagues were eagerly going out to capture a criminal. They didn't come to welcome me, he realized. Sis, what happened? Zhao Yu hurriedly asked Ping Xian. Ping Xian replied, we just got some new information. Someone saw Yang Wentao's near Qinshan Water Reservoir. We have to go and capture him. Kiddo, I'm going to organize your victory party later. Yang Wentao? Zhao Yu suddenly remembered that Yang Wentao was the suspect in the floating corpse case, the one that did parkour. Who would have thought that he was still running away after so many days? Qinshan Water Reservoir? Zhao Yu's brows knitted. No way. That guy actually hid at the place where he killed someone and dumped the body? Amazing, huh? Sis, wait up, I'll go with you guys. Zhao Yu zipped up his jacket, ready to head out with his colleagues. Okay. Ping Xian first nodded, but she remembered something a second later and stooped. Wait, no. Bro, Bureau Chief Luan called this morning. She wants you to go to her office. Bureau Chief Luan? Zhao Yu knitted his brows again. He wondered, what could she possibly want with me? Having guessed what Zhao Yu was thinking, Ping Xian made sure to shout Team B's direction, Zhao Yu, it's because you managed to close the Uptown slaughter case. That's quite the achievement. Bureau Chief Luan wants to praise you, and she wants to personally hear from you. Also, she wants you to prepare a report about your experiences solving cases for the rest of the key case investigation unit. Make sure you're prepared. Ping Xian had raised her voice so Chu Ping and the others would hear her boasting. She wanted to let them know, Team A also has skilled people. We aren't here for nothing. Seeing Ping Xian's pride, Zhao Yu wanted to laugh, however, he was a much better actor than Ping Xian. He immediately cooperated and yelled towards Team B's door, meeting the bureau chief is too much. With such a small case like the slaughter case, what is there even to say? Zhao Yu acted seriously. I think I should just go and catch the suspect with you guys. Don't worry, it's just a measly murderer trying to escape. If Your Highness Zhao Yu goes, I can guarantee their capture. And I'll be quick too. Listening to Ping Xian and Zhao Yu, the Team A members could not help but smile. Ever since Chu Ping had become the Team B's leader, they had been constantly oppressed. They never dared to yell in front of the other's door. This was truly first time they were doing so. After their performance, Ping Xian seriously shook her head and spoke quietly into Zhao Yu's ear, You, listen to me. Hurry up and go to Bureau Chief Luan's office. It's not only to make a report, but it's also to talk about the cold case investigation unit. If she gives you the okay, you can leave right away. Oh, Zhao Yu had not thought that far. Big Sis really did know best. Thinking this much, a sudden emotion welled up inside of him. He knew who were his friends and who were his enemies. Ping Xian already takes so much care of me. I must repay her kindness, he thought. Zhao Yu did not think too much, but persisted on trying to accompany Team A. Sis, don't say any more. I, Zhao Yu, am still a member of Team A. I'll go with you guys, the more people we have, the stronger we are. But, Ping Xian was hesitant. What's there to hesitate about? Zhao Yu waved his hand in dismissal. I can write a report for the bureau chief anytime, but this suspect won't wait for us. Let's hurry and not waste our time anymore. Then, all right. Peng Xian finally agreed. As for Bureau Chief Luan, I'll go explain it to her later. Let's go. Under Peng Xian's lead, the investigators quickly went downstairs to get into the cars. At the same time, Chu Ping was inside of Team B's office shuddering in anger. She had heard all of Peng Xian and Zhao Yu's mockery just then. Zhao Yu's words, especially, made her even angrier. Humph. Only the shameless flaunt their glory. Chu Ping cursed Zhao Yu. How can he refer to himself as Your Highness? How shameless! I'll wait and see if you can really capture the murderer. Although they had received news about the murder suspect, Yang Wentao, it did not mean that they would definitely catch him this time. This piece of information had been provided by a villager living near the reservoir. He told the police that he had seen a male 2 nights ago who looked like he was in a hurry. When the villager approached him, they got into a conflict, and the man ran toward the west of the reservoir after struggling free. After that, the villager saw the warrant of arrest and realized that the man looked like Yang Wentao. Whether the tip was accurate or not, and whether or not the man was Yang Wentao, 2 days had already passed and it was likely that he had already left the reservoir area. Therefore, on the way to Qianshan Water Reservoir, Peng Xian made last-minute adjustments to the plan. She contacted the local police and got them to look for the traces of the suspect from the surveillance cameras around the area. Then, she divided the agents into groups and got them to search the different villages and towns around the reservoir. Including Zhao Yu, there were 10 people. There were 5 cars, with 2 people on a team. Zhao Yu and Lu Xueshan were grouped together and were sent to search the southern side of the reservoir. There was a total of 3 small towns and over 20 villages in that area. Obviously, there was a huge amount of work to be done. After splitting up from the main team, Zhao Yu and Lu Xueshan started driving toward the south. On the way, Lu Xueshan was full of complaints, criticizing Peng Xian's commands. Firstly, he said that each town and village had their own local police station and there were also police on duty in the villages. Since the search could have just be handed over to them, where was there the need for the key case investigation unit to do it? Moreover, the eyewitness had said that Yang Wentao ran toward the west side, so why was there a need to search the south? Wouldn't it be better for them to focus on searching the west instead? Thereafter, he started worrying about the accuracy of the tip, saying that if the villager had been wrong, they were just wasting their effort. Also, Qianshan was big. If Yang Wentao had gone into the deep mountains, how could they find him? Hearing Lu Xueshan's negative commentary, Zhao Yu could not help but be turned off. Thinking back on when they had been ready to leave, this fella had been full of confidence and was more excited than anyone else. In the blink of an eye, he started to slack and criticize Peng Xian. Zhao Yu knew that Lu Xueshan was the oldest and most experienced on the team, and he remained unconvinced about Peng Xian's sudden promoted. However, without any capabilities, drive or backing, how would the leaders hold him in high regard? During Zhao Yu's life in the underworld, he detested people who did not hold firm to their stance and spread negativity. Two-faced people like him had no credibility at all. Therefore, Zhao Yu did not bother about him and carried on sleeping. Zhao Yu, who was the junior, should have been driving the car, but Lu Xueshan knew about Zhao Yu's arrogance and barbaric behavior. Seeing that Zhao Yu sat in the backseat straight away, he could only take the wheel. Zhao Yu had not slept a wink the night before and was completely exhausted. Although the journey was bumpy, he slept soundly, and the car had already reached their first destination when he woke up. This place was called Yulangdian. It was over 12 miles from Qianshan Water Reservoir and was a small town within the jurisdiction of Moyang County in Qianshan City. After arriving at the destination, Lu Xueshan and Zhao Yu followed the normal procedure and went to the police station to meet the local police. The local police had already been informed and started searching the entire town. They would inform them once they had any news. It was already noontime after they had finished the handover to the local police. The two went to a small restaurant in town and ordered some simple food. While eating, Lu Xueshan was still nagging and complaining, annoying Zhao Yu even further. Read latest OVLS at nv/e/l/buy.com. At that moment, the miracle system sent a message to Zhao Yu, stating that his adventure today had already ended. The completion rate was only 42%, and he received nothing. Zhao Yu was very surprised. Why had the system ended so fast? And why was the completion rate so low? He thought that his adventure for the day had not even begun. Why had it ended so suddenly? Thinking of this, he quickly began flipping through his notes. Kanjin hexagram. Kanjin hexagram. Can represented woman, woman, woman? Zhao Yu thought back at the woman who interacted with him the most today. It was still Miaoying. Could the woman be referring to her? Or... Zhao Yu pondered about it carefully and quickly thought of another possibility. Luan Xiao. Bureau Chief Luan was also a woman. She had wanted to see me today. Could it be the woman in the adventure was referring to her, he thought. In the end, he had chose to take part in the mission with the police force and missed the encounter with her. If that was why the completion rate was so low, then, how about Jin hexagram? What did Jin represent? Zhao Yu seemed to have figured out something and quickly looked through his records and made a new discovery. The Jin hexagram had only appeared 3 times before. The earliest was on the day the lost hand case had been solved, when Zhao Yu beat up the blonde guy. The next was during the police training when Zhao Yu and Miaoying had their big fight. The most recent time was when Lu Changhu announced that Zhao Yu had been transferred to the cold case department. Zhao Yu made notes with his pen and felt that the time he and Miaoying fought should not count since it had been messed up by Miaoying in the end. Then, was there any connection between the time when he beat up the blonde and when he got transferred to the cold case department? Although he was uncertain, Zhao Yu still thought of something out of instinct: status. The day he beat up the blonde was when he had just solved the lost hand case and established his status in the key case investigation unit. And when Lu Changhu transferred him to the cold case department, although it seemed to be work-related on the surface, his status had also changed. Could it be Jin hexagram represented status? When he first fought Miaoying, he had also established respect among the male police officers, and that seemed to be also a change in status. Could the water and thunder have referred to the big fight between him and Miaoying? Thinking of this, Zhao Yu quickly noted down his theory. If there was another Jin hexagram in future, he was sure to experience something similar. Zhao Yu suddenly thought of something as he wrote it down. If Jin represented status, then did the Jin hexagram today also have the same meaning? Bureau Chief Luan had wanted to see him today. Could it be linked to a change of his status? As he had not gone, had the miracle system ended early? Holy sh*T, he thought. Zhao Yu felt he was correct the more he thought about it. If he had gone to Bureau Chief Luan's office, he might have been transferred out of the cold case department. It was likely that he had missed a good opportunity. TSK, Zhao Yu could not help but regret it. If only he had figured this out earlier. He had also not expected it would be so difficult to nab young Wen Tao. If not, he would have gone to the bureau chief's office first before coming to help. He switched his thoughts and felt at ease shortly after. Since he had solved the slaughter case, he would have to write the report and go to the leader's office sooner or later. Although he had missed this encounter, there would be many other encounters waiting for him in future. Also, it might not have been a mistake for him to join this current mission. If I catch Yang Wentao, what will happen? Zhao Yu still thought catching the murderer was too easy. He never would have imagined that when he and Lu Xueshan entered the mountain, they would be searching for 3 whole days. Even though Ping Xian already confirmed with witnesses that the person who appeared at the Qinshan water reservoir was indeed Yang Wentao, when they worked with the local police officers to do search and capture, Yang Wentao was nowhere to be seen. For 3 days, Zhao Yu and Lu Xueshan cleared out all of the towns and villages to the south of the water reservoir, but they still had no results. Although Zhao Yu got a new hexagram every day, he had yet to have an adventure that had anything to do with the case. Even the Gen hexagram that was related to work had not appeared. On the first day, the system gave him the Candui hexagram. Zhao Yu had thought that he would meet some cuties and even get some money. In the end, he simply met an old classmate from a nearby town. Discover new Tories at nv/lbin.c/o. The classmate was someone Zhao Yu used to play with growing up. Not only were they students in the same elementary school, but they had even been table mates. She had married into a village and was a teacher there. After their meeting, the classmate was incredibly happy, and invited Zhao Yu and Lu Xueshan to her home. She even gave Zhao Yu a huge bag of jujube and noodles when they left. When the system signaled that he had finished his adventure, Zhao Yu finally realized that the nearly 200-pound classmate was the woman he was supposed to meet for the day, and the jujube and noodles had been the reward. One could tell that every day was a different adventure, and there was a significant difference in their worth. Even though the process had been undesirable, the result was decent. That day's adventure completion rate was 65%. He obtained something called the Invisible GPS, which let him locate his own position. Its effects lasted for an hour. Zhao Yu pondered, just what can this thing be used for? Could it be to prevent myself from getting lost? The next day, Zhao Yu opened the Sunli hexagram. Out of the 6 hexagrams, Zhao Yu did not understand either of these 2. Who would have thought that he would get them together? Sun meant wind, and Li meant fire. Zhao Yu pondered as he jotted notes down, but he still had no idea what the 2 characters meant. That day, he continued his work and searched for the suspect through the many villages with Lu Xueshan, but he did not encounter anything that could be considered an adventure. After working for the entire day, Zhao Yu received a message at night notifying him that his salary had arrived. Zhao Yu had recently become an official police officer, so his salary was a little over 4,000 yuan. Even though it was not much, it was enough for him to live off of. However, the Zhao Yu of this world had been very respectful to his parents. Every time he got paid, he only saved 1,000 yuan for himself, and he would send the rest to his parents. It was because of this that he had always lived so poorly. Thinking about his own parents, Zhao Yu could not help but get a bit emotional. As it turned out, the Zhao Yu from his previous life and the one in this life were completely different. Because he had had too many brothers in his house, and he lived in poor conditions, the old Zhao Yu had left home before he had even graduated from middle school. From day to day, he and his parents often disagreed. They did not see each other often, and they were almost like strangers. Even when he had been sentenced to death, he had not thought about seeing his family even once. To him, family was a completely foreign idea, but it was different now. After he crossed over, not only was he reunited with a family, but he even became a good son. At first, Zhao Yu had not really thought about his situation. Even though the old Zhao Yu's parents called him a few times, he just spoke to them neutrally. But now that he got his salary, he had to consider what to do more seriously. How he would face his parents, his siblings, and relatives from his hometown. This feeling of familiarity yet strangeness made him uncomfortable. After pondering for a while, Zhao Yu decided to continue doing what the old Zhao Yu had done, give the money to his parents. It was probably better to maintain the relationship for now. Besides, he did not even need money at that point, so even if he gave them all of his salary, there would not be any issue. When Zhao Yu sent the money, he quickly got a message from the system that his adventure had ended. This time, Zhao Yu's completion rate was a high 87%, and he had obtained another invisible eavesdropper. Whoa! No way! Zhao Yu could not help but be shocked. He had simply sent some money to his family. Why was the completion rate so high? Could it be that it counted as doing something good? And the more good he did, the higher his completion rate would be? At the same time, Zhao Yu formulated a new idea. It seemed that either Sun and Li meant family. But he didn't know which one. If he got the same hexagram later on, he would have to investigate it thoroughly. Just like that, Zhao Yu and Lu Xueshan had walked and searched all day. When they got tired, they rented a room in a hotel and rested. Then, on the third day, Zhao Yu caught a glimmer of hope. That morning, the system finally gave him the Zhenli hexagram. The hexagram explanation was Zhen for mountain and Li for fire. Fire within mountain, visible from afar, the 5 elements are conflicted. Fire within mountain, Zhao Yu looked out the window and thought, right now I'm on a mountain. Could it be if there's a fire somewhere, the suspect would be there? Thus, after finally obtaining the Zhen hexagram related to his work, Zhao Yu was quite excited and was ready to leave early in the morning. But at that moment, Lu Xueshan could not take it anymore. Over the past few days, the man became less and less interested. Not only did he not bother to look for the suspect, but he often complained and stopped working. Whenever Zhao Yu went from house to house, the man sometimes did not even bother to get out of the car. He only played his phone and made some calls, completely slacking off. Seeing Zhao Yu get up so early to leave, Lu Xueshan finally could not anymore. Zhao, just listen to me. Let's just rest up. Can't you tell? This is a complete waste of our time and energy. Hearing this from Lu Xueshan made Zhao Yu rather frustrated. In actuality, he had slacked off more than Lu Xueshan since he had joined the police force, but whenever it was not him who was slacking off, Zhao Yu became very agitated. We've already looked everywhere we should over these past few days. If Yang Wentao really ran to the south side of the reservoir, we would have already found something. Lu Xueshan kept making excuses for himself. See. Whether it was the east or the north side of the reservoir, there isn't any trace of Yang Wentao at all. He continued, I think this guy either ran up some uninhabited mountain, or out of city. Our search here is completely useless. Even though Lu Xueshan's words had some merit, Zhao Yu could not help but be angry when he heard them. But once he thought about it, his eyes lit up and he asked, Lu, don't you think that maybe there's another possibility? Another? How could Lu Xueshan know what Zhao Yu was thinking? He was instantly curious, what possibility? Out of west, south, east, north, Zhao Yu pondered as he spoke, aren't we missing one? How about, we look east? Zhao, are you all right? Lu Xueshan stared at Zhao Yu as if he were looking at a ghost. The eyewitness said that Yang Wentao went west, but now you want to search east? Isn't that doing things the opposite way? What are you thinking? But Zhao Yu insisted on his epiphany and said seriously, Yang Wentao is full of tricks. Isn't it possible that he tricked people into believing that he went west? Oh my, Lu Xueshan shook his head in disbelief. Zhao, are you writing novels? Yang Wentao is neither in the Special Forces, nor Bear Grylls in Man vs. Wild, he's only a small clerk, a wanted man. He's already having problems surviving, why would he still bother tricking us? Get your Avrite Ovals at no/v/e/lbn.com. Zhao Yu ignored Lu Wenshan as he checked the map on his phone. Thought of only one question, why had young Wentao appeared near the reservoir? Before this, Zhao Yu had thought of this question more than once. Did he just happen to pass by, or had he been hiding near the reservoir? The reservoir was where he had discarded the dead body, so why did he return? The map on the phone showed that there were many towns and villages near the water reservoir, and these were places where the population was the most dense in the mountains. If Yang Wentao continued hiding in this area, the probability of him being exposed would become higher. Go west? Could it be he had just been passing by? The west side of the reservoir was the only way to get to other provinces. Could Yang Wentao have been taking a risk to get out of Qinshan to go to other provinces? However, it was a long journey, and without any transport, he would not be able to get out even if he walked for an entire week. As for the north, it was vast and desolate with mountains, and many areas were unpopulated. If Yang Wentao went there, although he could escape capture, he would not be able to survive. The south and the surrounding areas of the reservoir had been searched thoroughly by Peng Xian and her team. For now, only the east side of the reservoir had not been searched thoroughly. Zhao Yu looked at the map and realized that east of the reservoir was right outside Qinshan City. Although there were also a few mountains, they were mostly barren, and the population was sparse. According to the map, there was only a small town called Yinpan, and 4 to 5 small villages in the mountains. Indeed, it was too close to the city. The probability of Yang Wentao hiding there was almost zero. However, Zhao Yu's thinking was just the opposite. He felt that since Yang Wentao had gone toward the west, it meant that he had probably come from the east. If they went to search the east, although they might not be able to catch the suspect, they might be able to discover his traces and find some clues. Moreover, he had gotten the Gen hexagram. Who knew if he would be able to make some progress? With that thought, Zhao Yu urged Lu Shueshan to set off quickly. Since they were not able to get any clues where they were, they might as well try searching the east side. However, Lu Shueshan was unwilling to move, saying that they had already searched for 3 days and that his bones were almost falling apart. He suggested resting first before continuing the search. Hearing such discouraging words, Zhao Yu almost wanted to give him a big scolding, but Lu was already turning 50, so Zhao Yu felt that there was no need to get angry at him. Therefore, he decided to stop wasting his breath on him. He went to pack his things and left after taking the car keys. Lu Shueshan had thought that Zhao Yu would return at night after going out to look for clues, so he did not stop him and continued sleeping. Zhao Yu left the hotel by himself and drove toward the east of the reservoir. On the way, he kept thinking about things related to Yang Wentao. Because the mountain roads were narrow, he did not drive very fast. More than 2 hours later, he had only reached the town of Yulandian where they had initially searched. As his gas was running low, Zhao Yu reduced his speed and wanted to find a gas station in town. Unexpectedly, when he was driving on the road, he suddenly witnessed a scene. 2 men were standing in front of a small cottage. A hale and hearty white-haired, elderly man was shaking hands with a young man. The old man was a stranger, but Zhao Yu recognized the young man. He was an agent from Ryangqi Case Investigation Unit and one of Miao Ying's subordinate. As Zhao Yu had just stirred up trouble at Ryang police station a few days ago, the man probably still remembered him. This guy had even been startled by Zhao Yu and had sat on his puke. What a coincidence! What was this fella doing here? Due to the existence of the miracle system, Zhao Yu subconsciously became aware of something and quickly stopped his car by the side of the road to observe. After shaking hands warmly with the elderly man, the young agent said, "Thank you so much, Officer Lu. The information that you have given us is definitely of great help for us." "Kikik, don't mention it," the elderly man laughed. "The case has not been solved after 10 years. We also feel bad about it. Put in your best effort." "Definitely. I will inform you once we have any news, the young man said as he bowed respectfully to the elderly man. Good, good, the old man smiled and waved at the young man. Please go back in. I shall make a move. Not only was the young man polite, but he even waited for the elderly man to go back into his house. The gears in Zhao Yu's brain started to turn as he looked on. Hearing what the young agent had just said, he should have been there to find information. It was also mentioned that the case had not been for 10 years. He could have been investigating Jian Wenli's case. Interesting, Zhao Yu had never expected that he would actually come across information about Jian Wenli somewhere almost 60 miles away from the city. If that's the case, why don't I just ask him straight? Don't forget that I was also an official investigator of Jian Wenli's case. With that thought, Zhao Yu opened the car door and got out. The young agent had come alone. After he saw the elderly man go back into his house, he walked around the rear of his car toward the driver's seat. However, he had only taken 2 steps before he heard Zhao Yu's thunderous greeting. Hey! What a coincidence, what are you doing here? The young agent raised his head and got a shock. Eh? Why is it you? How did you? After pausing for 2 seconds, he said in astonishment, Oh, you actually followed me. What nonsense. Zhao Yu shook his head. Coincidentally, I'm just investigating another case. Zhao Yu's explanation was unable to convince the young agent. The young agent said to Zhao Yu with hostility, This is not the city. Who would believe that we would run into each other here by coincidence? Hey, you, what do you want exactly? Zhao Yu could not be bothered to explain and got straight to the point, I do not want anything. I only want to ask how's the progress on Jian Wenli's case? Has Miao Renfeng found any new clues? And, who were you talking to just now? Hey! The young agent replied angrily, I'm doing an investigation. Sorry, I can't divulge anything. You can ask our Captain Miao directly. What kind of attitude is this? Is this how you talk to your senior? Zhao Yu stared at him. Don't you already know that I am also in charge of this case? I have the right to know. You better fill me in on the development of this case. Dream on, the young agent adhered to his principles and pointed to the cottage. Go investigate yourself. Hey! Zhao Yu grabbed the young agent's collar and pushed him toward the hood of the car. Young man, don't force me to do it the hard way. If I want something, nobody can refuse to give it to me. The young agent knew about Zhao Yu's tyrannical behavior and started to stammer, but as a police agent, he remained fearless. You, don't mess around. I won't tell you anything, so hit me if you dare. Waha, Zhao Yu suddenly laughed and let go of him. You're good, young man. Remarkable. Kikik, all right, I shall not argue with you. I have a mouth, so I can just go and find out myself. With that, Zhao Yu turned his head and walked toward the small cottage, and even pretended to knock at the door. The young agent adjusted his collar and swallowed hard before getting into the driver's seat in a fluster and driving away. Probably due to his intense emotions, the car made an S on the road before leaving. Zhao Yu waited until the car was gone before laughing, Huh. Young man, wanna play games with me? You're still too young. After he put down his hand from when he had pretended to knock on the door, a black recording pen suddenly appeared on his palm. While he was looking for Yang Wentao, Zhao Yu never forgot about Jian Wenli's case. When he was resting, he would often flip open his records, trying to find any leads. According to the plan, Miaowing had already sent Lu Pengfei to Rongyang prison for surveillance. Due to his absence, Zhao Yu had left all of the follow-up work to be finished up by Li Baini. Over the past few days, Zhao Yu had tried to contact Miaoying to inquire about the investigation, yet it seemed that he had angered the feisty woman last time. Miaoying did not respond to any WeChat messages or phone calls. Maybe she had even blocked him. Actually, because of the difference in jurisdiction, Zhao Yu could only cooperate with the Jian Wenli's case independently. It really did not have much to do with him, so he did not need to worry at all, but because of Lin Meifeng's involvement, he simply could not let go of the case. He still felt like he had to help Lin Meifeng gain her innocence. Every time he thought about this, the image of Lin Meifeng laughing with her children in the morning floated into his mind. Having met an investigator so far from the city by coincidence, Zhao Yu felt there was something more to it. Even though he was trying to intimidate the new investigator, he had secretly put his hand into his car and stolen his recording pen. When he turned on the recorder pen and listened to all of the information on it, he finally understood why the investigator had gone all the way to the shop in Yulong. Apparently, the white-haired man that appeared at the door was originally a police officer responsible for Jian Wenli's case, but he had retired already. Miaoying sent someone over to find him because she wanted to understand the original case situation and see if they missed anything from before. Unexpectedly, the interview with the retired police officer really produced some important details. According to the footprint left at the crime scene previously, the suspect was a strong man that was at least 5'11". Also, according to the rather experienced detective's reasoning, he thought the suspect's right foot had some sort of disability because he noticed that all of the right footprints appeared to be a little shallower compared to the left. Jian Wenli had been strangled by someone. Using the marks left on the corpse, they concluded that the culprit was tall with long arms and thick fingers, and was very strong. Also, Jian Wenli's pajamas had had a lot of mud on them. The police suspected that the bed where she was found may not have been where she was murdered. The victim may have been strangled by the culprit while pinned against a wall. According to the old police officer's recollection, these details had initially been recorded, but had not been saved for some reason. He was not sure if it had simply been ignored, or if there was some sort of mistake. After Zhao Yu heard that, he felt even more confident. With this new evidences, there was no doubt that Lin Meifeng was innocent. Jian Wenli's murderer was indeed someone else. He was not sure if Miaoying would find the culprit in the end. Zhao Yu was thinking about this when his phone rang. He opened it to see it was from Miaoying. The call had just connected when Miaoying's angry voice came from the other side. "Zhao Yu, you good for nothing, are you crazy? If you wanted to know more about the case then just look for me, why did you follow my investigator? And followed him so far, too? If you know what's good for you, go and return the recording pen to Zhang." Hey, Zhao Yu was prepared and replied immediately, "Team leader Miao, don't be so angry, okay? I already explained myself. I came to Yulong for another case, it was just a coincidence. Also, I did want to ask you about the case, but how come you didn't answer me? Did you block me on WeChat or something? Also, what pen? I don't know what you're talking about. Zhao Yu, don't play dumb with me." Miaoying roared, "Okay, you said you wanted to understand the case. I'll tell you right now. Lin Meifeng's office supply shop was destroyed. Also, Lu Pengfei's storage room was set on fire." "Aw. What?" Zhao Yu was shocked. He asked in a hurry, "Who did it?" But he did not need Miaoying's response to know the answer. Who else could it be? Obviously, it was Jian Wenli's family. Now that the case had been reopened, and the police had uncovered Lu Pengfei and Lin Meifeng's murder exchange plot, Jian Wenli's family would stop at nothing to get revenge. "You happy now?" Miaoying continued, "Also I'll tell you now, the victim's family has already started putting pressure on the police. If we can't find the truth, and the higher-up can't take it anymore, they might use Lin Meifeng as a scapegoat." This. Zhao Yu could not have imagined this. To think the situation with Jian Wenli's case had worsened so quickly. It seemed that they could not wait 2 months anymore. They have to close this case as soon as possible. Don't worry, if I go down, I'll take you down with me. Miao threatened him, as long as I send your information to Jian Wenli's family, Rongyang branch will also die with me. I'll see where you run then. Zhao Yu swallowed and thought to himself, this woman, savage. Didn't you say we were taking too long? Why don't you come and help us? Miao Ying continued to scold him, what were you following my investigators for? Fine. Zhao Yu did not stop. First you give me the information. Once I finish what I'm doing now, I'll go and help you investigate. It's helping yourself, not helping me. Okay, I'll give you the information soon. Miao Ying agreed, then asked, then, what about the recorder pen? 10 minutes later, the young agent, Zhang, drove his own Passat and pulled up in front of Zhao Yu. UW Evils up Tez on NOV/L/BI.com. Zhao Yu ignored him and simply held his pen out the window. Zhang opened the door and got out of the car. As he got closer he pouted and was rather frustrated, then grabbed the pen angrily. He had wanted to just turn and leave, but he still felt angry, so he turned and cursed at Zhao Yu, Officer Zhao, Yulong has a lot of cliffs. If you aren't familiar with this area, be careful not to fall, okay? It'll hard to clean up. How could Zhao Yu take this sort of insult? He did not even need to think before he replied, then let your mom come and clean up after me. We were in bed together anyway. Later, she'll tell you the truth, kiddo. Zhang shuddered in anger. He had wanted to yell at Zhao Yu more, but Zhao Yu suddenly turned on the car and purposefully zoomed past him. Zhang almost fell over in shock. When Zhang turned to look, not only did he see the car leaving him in the dust, but there was even a middle finger sticking way out of the car window. Tisk, tisk, even though Zhao Yu had messed with Zhang a little bit, he did not feel good at all. He had not thought that Jian Wenli's family would so rush to make a commotion. Also, he had not thought that Yang Wentao would be so hard to catch. No wonder Ping Xin and the others had worked so long but still could not close the case. This guy, where is he hiding? Zhao Yu thought. I've finally opened the Gen hexagram. What kind of adventure did the system give me? Could it be the meeting with the investigator just now? Thinking this much, Zhao Yu was suddenly inspired. He recalled the investigator's words, Officer Zhao, you aren't familiar with this area, don't fall off a cliff. Unfamiliar? Familiar? Zhao Yu pondered carefully for a few moments before saying in shock, ah. I was wondering what I was missing. So, the key to the problem was here? Previously, Zhao Yu had puzzled over why Yang Wentao would appear near Qinshan Water Reservoir. He thought hard and long about it but could not figure it out. After Zhang had cursed him just now, he suddenly figured out. The secret lies in familiarity. Yang Wentao chose to discard the dead body at Qinshan Reservoir, and he came back after being on the run. What did this imply? It meant that he was very familiar with this area. That's right. He knew this place well, and knew that it was a good place for him to hide from the police. Zhao Yu had seen Yang Wentao's file. He was not from Qinshan, and did not have any relatives near the reservoir. He did not even like fishing or outdoor sports. Logically, there was no reason for him to be familiar with this place. Then, why was he familiar with this place? Thinking about it further, Zhao Yu quickly thought of something, work. Yang Wentao was a clerk in the Technology Bureau. Could it be that he knew this place well because of some work requirement? Zhao Yu had never been a civil servant and had no idea what the Technology Bureau was for. However, he used his phone to get on the internet and quickly understood the work nature of the Technology Bureau. Although most of the employees were researchers based in the office, there were also large-scale scientific research projects that required extensive field research. Environment, hydrology, medicine, agriculture, as long as it involved scientific research, it was related to the Technology Bureau. Could it be that Yang Wentao had previously been involved in some research near Qinshan Water Reservoir? Such as the reservoir's fisheries, water treatment, etc., was that why? Was he aware of some place near the reservoir that was suitable for him to hide? Was he hiding there? After mulling it over, Zhao Yu felt that he had possibly realized a key clue. He immediately called Ping Xian to ask if she had Yang Wentao's employment record. Did he take part in any large-scale scientific research projects involved Qinshan Mountain area? Ping Xian was taken aback by Zhao Yu's questions and did not understand why he wanted Yang Wentao's employment record. Since Yang Wentao had committed homicide and it had even been a crime of passion, Ping Xian had no need to check Yang Wentao's work. After Yang Wentao escaped, she basically focused all of her energy on Yang Wentao's relationships and had not considered his work. Zhao Yu was uncertain whether his hunch was accurate or not. He told Ping Xian his suspicions truthfully. Ping Xian agreed with Zhao Yu's thinking and immediately sent someone to investigate. Zhao Yu thought that he would need to wait for some time, but he received Ping Xian's call just as he reached the gas station. Ping Xian sounded very excited over the phone. You're really awesome. We just called Yang Wentao's colleague to inquire, and guess what? His colleague said that 5 years ago, Yang Wentao was in charge of a reformation project in Yinpan Mountain's old silver mine. That project was active for 3 years, and they made numerous field trips there. However, the project was stopped due to funding problems. Silver mine. Zhao Yu frowned. He had thought that it would be a project related to Qinshan Water Reservoir. But it was the silver mine instead? Wait, Yinpan Mountain? Yinpan Town? Zhao Yu thought for a moment and was stunned. Ah, holy sh*t. Wasn't I going to go to Yinpan today? Its location is east of the reservoir. Oh, my goodness! Zhao Yu had goosebumps all over. Could it be Yang Wentao had been hiding in the abandoned mine of Yinpan Mountain all along? Yinpan Mountain was very close to the reservoir and could be reached in a few hours by foot. Zhao Yu was pondering as Ping Xian spoke again. It's such a pity. If only we had thought of this earlier. He was definitely hiding in the mine before, but he's gone west now, so he's probably no longer there. Zhao Yu wanted to say something, but stopped as he was unsure. How about this? Ping Xian said, we have limited manpower now. I'll get Dafei and Li to investigate the mine area. You will also go and check things out. The 3 of you will try to see if you can find something, okay? Okay. Zhao Yu nodded. Even without Ping Xian's instructions, he already intended to go to Yinpan Town. Zhao Yu felt that him wanting to go east that morning and finding out about the mine area was probably not just a coincidence. Moreover, the system had given him a gen hexagram which represented work. Perhaps he might find something at Yinpan Town. After filling up the gas tank, he went straight to Yinpan Town. Zhang had been right. Although the mountains were not too high from Yulangdian to Yinpan Mountain, there were many cliffs on both sides of the road, and it was necessary to drive cautiously. Zhao Yu did not even care about lunch and drove all the way to Yinpan Town. Yinpan Mountain got its name due to the fact that it had a silver mine in the past. It was situated at the front end of the Qinshan Mountains, and there were basically no high mountains. It was said that the silver mine had been active until the 80s, but on a very small scale. After the start of the 21st century, it had been totally abandoned. Upto.dfrm no/v/e/lb/in.co/m. The land near Inpan Mountain was barren, and there was little vegetation, making it looking dull and desolate. Inpan town was also pathetically tiny, and the whole town only had one main street. There were not many hotels, and the environment was completely unsanitary and appalling. Zhao Yu could not take any more and bought a few packs of instant noodles to quickly fill his stomach. It was almost sunset, but Zhao Yu still began his investigation work as planned. He held Yang Wentao's photo and started look around house by house. After he finished visiting half of the street, the sky was already completely dark. Zhao Yu went to the best hotel in the small town to stay for the night. Although it was the best hotel there was not even a shower, and he had to use the public toilets to wash up. Zhao Yu disliked the foul smell in the room. After he quickly finished his dinner, he sat at the entrance of the hotel and drank beer as he pondered about his investigation. After investigating, no one had seen Yang Wentao. It seemed like Yang Wentao may not have come here at all, and that he previously hid deep inside the mine. Information had shown that although the population was sparse near Inpan Mountain's mine, the surface area was not small. Inside the huge mountain, there were mining pits everywhere, and some mining pits could even be traced back to the Yuan and Ming dynasties. It was also like a maze inside the mining pits. Even the locals did not dare to go too deep in. Yang Wentao was previously involved in a project related to the mine area, and was thoroughly knowledgeable about the inside. If he had gone right inside, how could he be found? It was especially cold and chilly in the mountain at night. The small town only had a few street lamps, and many of them were dirty, making the dusk look even dimmer. A wolf dog walked over from the back of the hotel and took a weak glance at Zhao Yu. Without making a sound, it curled up its body and laid beside Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu side-eyed the dog. This wolf dog was rather big with a black head. Its body had mud caked onto it, and looked very filthy. To make things worse, one of its eyes seemed to have been injured at some point. It was closed tight, and the dog looked blind. A blind dog? Zhao Yu sighed and shook his head, feeling sorry for the dog. He remembered that he still had half a bag of dried beef in his car and went to his car to get it. He threw the few pieces of dried beef to the blind dog, and the dog ate them hungrily. Zhao Yu found the car seat comfortable and continued sitting there, then turned on the radio. The radio was playing an oldie called Waves. I can't see, I can't hear, I can't think, I can't touch, the two of us together, a man, a dog, a glass of wine, a night, suddenly turning old. A man and a dog? Zhao Yu thought. He looked at the blind dog outside the car window and shook his head as he contemplated. This song was quite apt. Wait, looking at the blind dog gobbling down the dried beef, another thought sprung up in Zhao Yu's head. When Zhao Yu saw the dog eating the beef jerky, he suddenly came up with a very important question. If Yang Wentao escaped into the mines, then, what did he eat? The area around the mine had nothing but mountains and uninhabited areas, not even any wildlife. Even edible plants or seeds were rare. This guy was not sitting in the cave catching mice, right? On the day he ran off, he could not have brought that much money, and probably could not have bought much food. Then, what had the guy been eating for all of these days? Zhao Yu vaguely felt that even if Yang Wentao had went to the mines, he could not be far from people. If he wanted to live, he needed food and water, and he could only get that if he was near a town or village. Then, Zhao Yu turned on his phone and started checking out the map of the area Ping Xian sent him that morning. He wanted to see, within Inpan Mountain, what towns or villages were close to the mine area. As it turned out, according to the map, the place he was in, Pingying Town, was the town closest to the mine. West of the town, and behind the mountain, there were many mining caves. Tsk tisk, interesting. Zhao Yu thought that if he was Yang Wentao, he would probably pick a place like this to hide too. In the morning, he could stay in the caves, then he could go to the town to buy some food and things to use at night. I hear the sound of the ocean, standing in the center of the town. I think of the tears from the decision when you said yes that day, hearing song on the radio and seeing the half-blind dog who had just finished the beef jerky. Zhao Yu felt that he should look around. Unexpectedly, just as he made that decision, he received a message from the system. This time, Zhao Yu's adventure completion rate was 73%, and the system rewarded him with a signal amplification device. With it, one could amplify a phone or other device's signal. First an invisible air monitor, and then invisible GPS, and now a signal amplification device. System, are you really worried I'll get lost? He thought. Since the adventure was over, Zhao Yu did not really want to think about anything else. He locked up his car and went upstairs to sleep. Before sleeping, Lu Xueshan called him, but Zhao Yu did not bother picking up. Zhao Yu could not care less about the slacker. Even though the hotel was awful, Zhao Yu was so exhausted that he slept until morning. Following his old habit, as soon as he woke up, he smoked. As soon as the hexagram explanation appeared, Zhao Yu's excitement lit up. Gen DUI hexagram, the system said. Gen for mountain and DUI for swamp. Marsh within the mountain, dark and light all prominent, objects return to nature, very strange. Seeing early morning, he already managed to obtain the much-anticipated Gen hexagram. Besides that, he felt lucky. Zhao Yu also felt that maybe the hexagram he had received could be related to the hard work he had put in before. Maybe, because the direction of my investigation is right, I managed to get the Gen hexagram, he thought. If so, then I have to work hard today. Maybe, I'll get huge rewards. He. Thinking about that, Zhao Yu got up and washed up in a hurry. He ate something light, then immediately started his investigation. First, he searched through all the areas he had not gone to the day before, then he started searching towards the back mountains mining area. In order not to miss any evidence, he asked almost everyone around, even the children who were going to school. Not only that, he also interviewed many old people and asked about the situation at the mine area, then personally went to search. Inside the mine, there were many caves almost like a maze. Zhao Yu didn't dare enter and only searched around the cave entrance before going back to the town. And just like that, he had searched until 8 at night, but Zhao Yu still had not made any progress. Up-to-date OVLS on OVL-bin.cm. As the town descended into night, the stubborn Zhao Yu suddenly came up with a strange idea. He thought that since Yang Wentao was kind of handsome, maybe he was hiding in some woman's home. How about I look in those places? And take care of some of my own frustration while I'm at it, he thought. Thus, somewhat distracted, Zhao Yu started making rounds in the town once again. However, the poverty of Yingpan village was beyond his expectation. He looked through the town's many shops. Even though there were a few salons, they were all hair salons and were less than savory. The stylists were all old men or old ladies. And the bathing house was also just a bathing house. There was no fun to be had there. Zhao Yu could not help but be a bit disappointed. His adventure would end soon, but he had spent the whole day wandering around and had found nothing. Was his direction wrong? Or had he missed something important? If Yang Wentao really was hiding here, how could nobody have seen him? Zhao Yu could not come up with anything, and could only drive back to the hotel. When the car stopped, Zhao Yu once again saw the half-blind dog from the night before wandering beside a wall. Zhao Yu realized that the dog was not only blind in one eye, but its rear leg also had problems. The dog limped as he walked. Also, the dog was mostly skin and bones. It was clearly a stray that was always hungry. Sigh. Poor guy, Zhao Yu sighed softly and got out of his car. Even though he had fed it only once, when the half-blind dog saw Zhao Yu, it hobbled over to him. It raised its head and looked pitifully at Zhao Yu. Only dogs could show such a pitiful expression. The dog did not bark or block his way, but when Zhao Yu stopped when he saw it. He wondered if he had anything that the dog could eat, then he could at least give him a bite. But the beef jerky was already gone, and Zhao Yu did not have anything else to eat. Zhao Yu looked around and saw a small shop was still open, so he walked in and bought a huge bag of chicken legs and chicken feet. Here, eat up, eat up. Tearing the bag open, Zhao Yu started feeding the dog in front of the hotel. Seeing the delicious food, the dog immediately started gobbling up the food as fast as it could. Zhao Yu also bought a few bottles of beer and simply sat beside the dog and started drinking himself. Dog ate meat, while human drank beer. As he drank, Zhao Yu could not help but think back on the case. Gen DUI hexagram. That's both work and money. It was a good hexagram, but how come it was not working? I've worked hard today, but I still feel like I'm missing something. What am I missing? I've already asked everyone in the town. Is it possible that Yang Wentao really didn't come here? Zhao Yu looked at the half-blind dog. As if joking, thought of a stupid idea. Well, if the people of the town didn't know, how about the dog? Could the dog have seen Yang Wentao? Apparently, a dog's nose is good. I have Yang Wentao's scent. Could the dog help me find him? Then he realized, oh. That's it! Zhao Yu suddenly remembered that the police team had many police dogs. If he got one of them, then maybe it could sniff out Yang Wentao. Yeah. Zhao Yu made up his mind and decided that after he finished the bottle of beer he was drinking, he would call Ping Xin. Yet, before he finished, Zhao Yu suddenly had another idea. Maybe he had drank too much, but he pulled out Yang Wentao's photo and put it in front of the half-blind dog. Hey, I fed you well, so you gotta help me I guess. Zhao Yu was rather dizzy, and started talking to the dog. Here, have you seen this guy? Unexpectedly, when it saw the photo, the half-blind dog actually stopped eating and stared at the picture with its working eye. Woof! 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 After 2 seconds, the dog started circling Zhao Yu, and barked a few times. Then it dragged its disabled leg and walked towards an alley behind the hotel and started nodding at Zhao Yu. Apparently, it wanted Zhao Yu to follow it. Holy **T. No way. No way. Zhao Yu looked at the beer in his hand. Was it fake beer? Why was he so dizzy? Could it be this dog, really? Zhao Yu only had a few cans of beer since he knew he could not drink too much. He was clearly aware that the photo of Yang Wentao was a printed copy from the police station, and it was impossible for it to have Yang Wentao's smell. It was also impossible for the blind dog in front of him to bring him to Yang Wentao. Nonetheless, Zhao Yu followed the blind dog without hesitation. As of now, the system had not announced the end of his adventure that day. Even if the blind dog was unable to find Yang Wentao, it might be able to bring him to some clues. The blind dog limped but moved quite fast. Zhao Yu had to run slightly along the way to catch up with it. The blind dog was afraid that Zhao Yu might get lost behind it and barked from time to time to alert Zhao Yu. They passed through a small alley at the back of the mountain. It was a dark and windy night, and the area was overgrown with weeds. Zhao Yu had no choice but to switch on the flashlight on his phone. The blind dog brought Zhao Yu through the weeds and turned in different directions. They soon arrived at the foot of the mountain. There was a tall elm tree there, and the blind dog finally stopped under the tree. Woof woof woof, the blind dog barked continuously at Zhao Yu and seemed to want Zhao Yu to see something. Oh, there's something here. It's time to witness a miracle. Zhao Yu thought he was already filled to the brim with excitement and quickly ran forward, wanting to know what the blind dog had led him to. Zhao Yu looked at the ground and was stunned by what he saw. What, damn! The thing that the blind dog had led him to turned out to be a steaming pile of poop. Holy sh*t. A dog never changes its habit of eating poop. Zhao Yu could not help but feel despondent. I came all the way here just to see you eat poop? What the? As Zhao Yu was turning crazy, the blind dog excitedly ran around the pile of poop in circles as if it had found some treasure, and kept barking at Zhao Yu at the same time. This time, Zhao Yu finally understood something. The dog was trying to return the favor and use the poop to repay him. Holy sh*t. Oh, I treated you to chicken drumsticks and feet, and you're treating me with this. Is this good food? Woof! 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 Hearing the blind dog's loud barks, Zhao Yu could not wait to give it a kick. What is going on? I was going crazy trying to solve the case, and ended up being played by a dog. T/his chapter is updated by nvel bin.co/m. Just as Zhao Yu was feeling depressed, he suddenly heard a few clanking sounds. Although it was faint, it was not far from him. The sound was obviously from metals knocking against each other, but this was a barren mountain with no one around. How could there be this sound? Zhao Yu quickly turned on his flashlight and looked around. At the same time, a thought came across his mind. The poop under the tree had steam coming out of it. That meant that someone here had just. Suddenly there was movement in the bushes, and Zhao Yu saw a man scurrying out. The man's speed was very fast as he fled toward the back of the mountain. Zhao Yu was less than 10 meters away from the man. Although it was dim, he could still clearly see that the man actually had some shiny object hanging on his right wrist. The clanking metal sound just now was from this object. Ah! Handcuffs! Wasn't that a pair of handcuffs? The man, why was he wearing handcuffs? Oh, Zhao Yu had been closely following Yang Wentao's case, and he instinctively recalled something. The day Yang Wentao escaped, one of his hands had already been handcuffed by the detectives. He had escaped when his other hand was about to be cuffed. Could it be this man who just fled? Ah, holy sh*t. Zhao Yu quickly held his flashlight higher to find the man, but the fellow was very fast and had already disappeared into the night. What? How can this happen? If that was really Yang Wentao, we cannot let him escape again. Zhao Yu anxiously ran toward the mountain, but his flashlight was too weak and he could not even see the road clearly, let alone chase a person. What should I do? Right. Out of desperation, Zhao Yu suddenly remembered he had the invisible night vision from the miracle system. This was a chance not to be missed. If he did not use it now, when else could he use it? He quickly found the tool in his brain and selected it. The tool did not activate immediately, and cautioned him that the tool should be used at night and that strong light should be avoided or else it could be harmful for the eyes. Zhao Yu quickly tapped on it again and finally activated it. This tool was indeed amazing. Zhao Yu felt that his eyes suddenly went into night vision mode. The surroundings were colorless, but he was able to see clearly. Although he had night vision, he was still unable to see faraway places clearly. Having no other choice, Zhao Yu also activated the invisible telescope, combining the two into one and maximizing their power. Zhao Yu quickly searched the faraway places. Fortunately, the weeds were not tall and within 10 seconds, he saw a man flash past the entrance of a mine some distance away. What? This fella ran so fast. He actually got so far in a blink of an eye. Oh, Zhao Yu suddenly recalled that Yang Wentao was a parkour practitioner. So, This fella really is him. Zhao Yu did not have time to think further and quickly ran toward the entrance of the mine. With the night vision, he was able to move fast and reach the mine pit in no time. The dark pit became clear with the use of the night vision. The tools boosted Zhao Yu's confidence, and he went straight into the mine pit without a second thought. Zhao Yu thought that since he had night vision while the man did not have any sort of light, he had the upper hand in a pitch-dark place like this, and he would be able to catch up with Yang Wentao soon. However, Zhao Yu had overlooked the most crucial problem. The mine in front of him was not a dead end, but had numerous connecting tunnels. Not long after, he came to an intersection. Zhao Yu was eager to go after the man, and had not thought about it too much. He felt that the path on his right had some movement inside and ran straight inside. Who would have known that this mine pit was like a maze? The deeper you went in, the more intersections there were. Gradually, Zhao Yu had gone down a few tunnels and had no idea how to continue the chase. Although he could still hear some vague movements, he was unable to ascertain where the sound came from exactly. TSK, what to do now? Unexpectedly, just as Zhao Yu was faced with difficulty, a series of rapid noises came from behind him. He quickly turned his head and saw the blind dog appear out of nowhere. Wah, are you kidding? Zhao Yu felt that it was amazing and could not figure out how the dog followed him. However, seeing the blind dog rekindled Zhao Yu's hope. Doggy, since you could never change your habit of eating poop, why don't you help me find the man who pooped? Zhao Yu did not know how to communicate with the dog and could only gesture at it. Bro, can you help me find the person who was just shitting here? Later I'll buy fried chicken for you, okay? Unexpectedly, the half-blind dog woofed a few times as if it understood Zhao Yu's words. It made circles around Zhao Yu again and picked a direction, gesturing at Zhao Yu for him to follow it. Ah! Zhao Yu was very excited and immediately followed the dog. The dog quickly fleeted through the caves almost too easily. Zhao Yu could not understand. This dog was blind in one eye, and it was dark in the tunnels, how could it see? But the dog's sight seemed amazingly good. It never slowed down, and seemed completely unaffected by its own blindness. Zhao Yu simply followed the dog through the coiled path. They walked for nearly half an hour before stopping at the corner of a cave. Zhao Yu had long lost his sense of direction by that point, and had no idea where he was. The half-blind dog first walked towards the edge of a wall, then started circling around something on the ground. Zhao Yu was wearing his night vision. He looked down and immediately saw what it was. Zhao Yu was stunned. On the ground was a pile of poop. This one clearly was from a long ago, no longer fresh. Geez, holy sh*t, he realized the half-blind dog had misunderstood him. It thought Zhao Yu was still looking for poop. Are you some sh*t finding expert? Zhao Yu gestured at the dog again. I say, I need to find a person, like me, do you get it? Not sh*t. Woof, 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 the half-blind dog barked a few times at Zhao Yu. The barking was especially loud in the dark cavern, and it even echoed. Unexpectedly, just as the dog started barking, Zhao Yu suddenly heard something from the deep part of the tunnel on his right side. He heard the sound of metal and of some rocks falling. There's a person? Zhao Yu suddenly was alert and ran toward the noise. The half-blind dog saw Zhao Yu run and immediately followed. After a few steps, Zhao Yu saw that the cavern had a small open area. There was a lot of trash, some old bed covers, and some pots and pans. Oh, he finally understood. It turned out that he had stumbled upon the headquarters of the hiding suspect. So this guy had been hiding in a place like this. Oh, the poop that the half-blind dog had led him to was also from the suspect. Zhao Yu was not sure if the half-blind dog was really amazing or if it had been a complete coincidence. Irregardless, he had just found some traces from the suspect. Zhao Yu could not let the opportunity slip away again. He immediately ran forward, dashing into the cave. Woof! Woof! The half-blind dog followed Zhao Yu and called after him, as if trying to tell him that it could not catch up if he kept running that fast. But Zhao Yu did not care that much. He immediately started running deeper into cave. After 2 turns in the tunnel, he finally caught up with the mysterious shadow. Even though the suspect did not have night vision, he knew the mines like the back of his hand. Even so, he needed something to see with. He was holding a nearly dead flashlight as he ran. Zhao Yu had finally caught sight of him. How could he let him go? He immediately started running as fast as he could and was soon right behind him. Humph. Still want to run? He said to himself. Zhao Yu jumped up and flew forward, kicking the suspect's back. The suspect flew forward and fell hard on the floor. His flashlight rolled away with a loud noise. Zhao Yu immediately ran up and stepped on the suspect's back. Hearing a cry of pain from the suspect, Zhao Yu leaned down to lock their elbow. He had wanted to lock his elbows behind him in order to immediately restrain the suspect. But Zhao Yu would never have thought the suspect would roll on the ground and free half of his body, then swing his right arm and flash something shiny. Pain, Zhao Yu felt coldness at his feet and realized he had been stabbed. Just as Zhao Yu bit back the pain and retracted his feet, the suspect once spun around and somehow, with a beautiful curve, stood back up again. Zhao Yu kicked again, but this time, he was truly shocked. The suspect strode towards the wall of the cave, and as if walking on the wall, ran past Zhao Yu. The most impressive thing was that his body was nearly parallel to the ground. Such an unbelievable move would stun anyone watching. Zhao Yu turned and chased him. The suspect continued to run deeper into the cave. Seeing the suspect's agile figure, Zhao Yu remembered that the suspect practiced parkour. Zhao Yu could not help but yell, "Yang Wentao! Stop!" Hearing Zhao Yu yell, the suspect suddenly stopped and turned to look at him. Zhao Yu was finally able to get a good look at the suspect's appearance. His face was covered in stubble, his hair was messy, and with his rag-like clothing he looked exactly like a hobo. But Zhao Yu knew Yang Wentao's face well. With just one look, he was sure that the man before him was indeed the suspect who had been running away for 2 weeks, Yang Wentao. To think that this guy had been hiding in a place like this? Yang Wentao heard Zhao Yu yell his name and was shocked. He immediately ran deeper into the cave. Zhao Yu was riding on his adrenaline and immediately gave chase. However, Yang Wentao knew this area well, and within a few steps, he ducked down and crawled into a small tunnel. Zhao Yu ran forward and intended to follow him, but realized that the cave was tight. If he wanted to get into the tunnel, he would have to press himself to the floor. How could he let that happen? Zhao Yu was not dumb. He knew that if he crawled in, Yang Wentao only needed a rock to end him. Not to mention, he had a knife. Zhao Yu looked carefully and realized that the cave wall was not made of rock, but was just an old wooden fence. Due to the aging process, the wood was already rotten. His eyes lit up. He took a step back, then threw his body against the fence. Zhao Yu guessed correctly. Yang Wentao was indeed waiting on the other side with his knife, but he never expected that Zhao Yu would burst in from the side instead of following him into the tunnel. Slam! The wooden fence was broken by Zhao Yu. Yang Wentao could not dodge, and was slammed into the ground. The knife in his hand flew far away. Zhao Yu had lightning-fast reaction speed. He immediately grabbed Yang Wentao's clothes, intending to throw him against the wall. Yet, Yang Wentao's clothing was made from cheap material. With a ripping sound, the cloth fell apart and he fell into the cavern behind the cave. Unexpectedly, the floor of the cave was filled with water. Young Wentao fell with a splash. Zhao Yu roared and immediately kicked. Unexpectedly, young Wentao was very flexible. He scrambled up from the water, not only dodging Zhao Yu's kick, but he even managed to stand up and was ready to run again. Zhao Yu already knew that this guy was good at running, so he could only send himself flying forward, pushing Young Wentao into the ground. Splash! With a splash of water, the two rolled in the water of the cave. Zhao Yu had not expected Young Wentao to be so tenacious. He had been on the run for almost 2 weeks without proper food and water, and was exhausted. Logically, he should have been subdued easily. However, Zhao Yu rolled around with him in the water, unable to defeat him. Due to Young Wentao's desperate struggle, Zhao Yu even got a few mouthfuls of stagnant water. In this area of the mine pit, not only was there ankle-high stagnant water, but also objects previously used for mining, such as a few wooden racks, tattered baskets, and even half a pushcart. The two wrestled in the water and suddenly hit the pushcart, causing it to fall onto the two men. The stones on the pushcart fell onto Zhao Yu and slowed him down. Yang Wentao took this chance and got up before running deeper into the cave. Young Wentao also seemed unfamiliar with the place. And without any lighting device, he stumbled as he ran and tripped onto a pile of fallen stones after just a few steps. The source of this content N/O/V/L/N. At that very moment, Zhao Yu's night vision finally came into good use. He struggled out from the stones and went forward to grab Young Wentao's left leg, pulling him back into the stone mess. In desperation, Young Wentao frantically took a stone and threw it at Zhao Yu. Luckily, Zhao Yu was able to see clearly and quickly tilted his head to dodge it. Holy sh**t. Zhao Yu was also anxious. He let go of his hand and allowed Young Wentao to climb onto the pile of stones. Zhao Yu had already clearly seen that this enclosed cave was actually a dead end. It was possible that there had been a landslide, and that the stones had already blocked the pathway. There was no way for Young Wentao to escape. However, Young Wentao was not aware of this. It was when he climbed higher up that he realized there was no escape. Unexpectedly, he started to pick up stones again, intending to throw them at Zhao Yu. Hehehe, Zhao Yu laughed coldly and said to himself, who doesn't know how to throw stones? He bent over, picked up a stone the size of a football with each of his hands, and shot them at Young Wentao. One stone hit Young Wentao on the chest, and the other one hit him right on the face. Young Wentao grunted and lost consciousness at once. Along with his body falling, the stones from the landslide fell and produced a series of loud noises, causing dust to fly all over. Zhao Yu breathed heavily and took a closer look. Young Wentao's face was already covered in blood and obviously disfigured. However, his life was not in danger. Despite being unconscious, he was still mumbling and bobbing head at the same time. Zhao Yu took another deep breath, but his body was completely exhausted and he even felt a little dizzy. Zhao Yu could not help but feel puzzled. This little bit of activity was nothing to him, so why did he feel so lousy? Could it be because of the night vision? Woof! 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 A few dog barks suddenly came from outside the wooden fence. Zhao Yu turned around and saw that it was the blind dog which had followed him. Not knowing why, Zhao Yu actually felt a sense of companionship looking at the blind dog. He quickly waved at the dog. It's okay now, bro, the baddie's been caught. Come over! Woof woof woof, the blind dog barked a few times at the door, as if replying him. It barked outside the door and did not want to go in. Huh? At that instant, Zhao Yu seemed to have figured something out. Could it be the oxygen level was low in the cave? Was that why he felt dizzy? Right. He suddenly thought of something again. Among the system tools, there was an invisible air monitor. This item was able to test the air quality, which would make it useful to use now. With this thought, Zhao Yu quickly activated the tool. Once it had been activated, a red light lit up in his brain. The air monitor was warning him that there was excessive carbon dioxide in the air. It was extremely harmful to the human body and he had to leave immediately. Oh my goodness! Zhao Yu was speechless. No wonder he felt dizzy and out of breath. If he had not used the tool, he would have definitely passed out and died. Zhao Yu quickly went to pull Yang Wentao, but he did not move at all. He hastily went in front of Yang Wentao to check on him and saw that a huge rock had landed on Yang Wentao's arm. Zhao Yu sighed. Although Yang Wentao was a murderer, Zhao Yu still needed to help him. If not, he would definitely die down here. Zhao Yu used all of his strength and lifted the rock up a little bit. He lowered his head and tried to pull out Yang Wentao's arm. Unexpectedly, just as he pulled out Yang Wentao's arm, Zhao Yu saw something under the rock. The texture and shape of the object was clearly different from stones. Out of curiosity, Zhao Yu patted off the dust on top and realized what the object was. It was actually a leather bag. Zhao Yu pushed aside the stones around it and finally dug the bag out. It was a small rectangular bag, but he was unable to make out the color due to his night vision. Nonetheless, the bag was bulging and seemed to be filled with something. At a dangerous moment like this, Zhao Yu did not have time to look closely. He quickly put the bag under his armpit and got up, dragging Yang Wentao out from the cave. As the ground was filled with stagnant water, Yang Wentao had also drank quite a bit of it. After Zhao Yu pulled him up, he continuously coughed out the water. Zhao Yu did not waste any time and quickly cuffed the other end of Yang Wentao's handcuff onto his other hand. Huh. Are you great at running away? Show me how you're gonna run away this time. Feeling pleased with himself, Zhao Yu could not help but gasp in admiration at the quality of handcuffs these days. Yang Wentao had been on the run for 2 weeks, but he had still been unable to open them. If the handcuffs had not made a clanking sound, then Zhao Yu may not have even have discovered him. What a great coincidence! Thinking about how he had caught Yang Wentao, Zhao Yu realized that he had made any mistakes, the result would have been different. It was simply too much of a coincidence. Woof woof woof, the blind dog was still barking beside Zhao Yu. He did not know whether it was celebrating for him or about something else. After getting out of the enclosed cave, the red light on the invisible air monitor finally turned green. Zhao Yu also felt that he could breathe more easily. To play it safe, he dragged the semi-unconscious Yang Wentao far away from the wooden fence to a safe place. The blind dog had stopped barking and started going around Yang Wentao in circles. All right, Zhao Yu was dizzy watching the dog go in circles. He shouted, "That's enough. This fella is not able to poop for the time being." After saying that, Zhao Yu thought of the leather bag that he had picked up just now. The bag was bulging. He wondered what was inside. Since Yang Wentao was not totally awake, Zhao Yu took the bag out to check. There was an obvious butterfly logo at the bottom of the bag, and its design was old and simple. There were also 2 handles on top, and it looked a bit like handbags carried by aunties for grocery shopping. This type of design could probably be traced to the 80s, and it was probably quite old. Although the leather bag was bulging, Zhao Yu did not have high expectations for what was inside since he had found it inside of a mine. However, he was wrong again this time. When he pulled the zipper open and saw what was inside, he was dumbstruck. He never would have imagined that the bag was filled with cash. No way. Zhao Yu felt like he was dreaming. Just before he was fighting for his life against Yang Wentao, so did he just find a bag of cash in the blink of an eye? This feeling, why do I feel dizzy? Am I dreaming? He grabbed a wad of cash and looked carefully. The bag was filled with $100 bills. Even though they were old, they were all still usable. Zhao Yu recognized that the bills were part of the fourth edition of bills the Chinese government had printed. If he had to do a rough estimate, there was probably 80 to 100,000 yuan in there. This much money? Holy sh*t, Zhao Yu could not help but gasp in shock. Even though this type of money was no longer printed, it was still usable. Also, because it was old, it was possible that they had some additional value. At the very least, if each bill was 2 to 3 times its original worth, then that would be quite a lot of money. Whoa, then, aren't I rich? Zhao Yu thought. Geez, I almost forgot, today's hexagram not only had the Gen hexagram, but also the DUI hexagram for money. To think that the Gen hexagram helped me catch Yang Wentao, and the DUI hexagram was also helpful and got me all this money, muahaha, this amazing system, I love you so much. Just as Zhao Yu was feeling good, he wanted to check if there was anything else in the bag, but everything suddenly went dark and he could not see a thing. The invisible night vision's effect only lasted an hour, and Zhao Yu had just ran out of time. After a few seconds, the invisible telescope also stopped working. Tisk tisk, Zhao Yu quickly put away the money and started thinking. He had not thought that he had been in the cave for that long. Without night vision, it could get quite dangerous. Could he manage to make it out with just his phone's flashlight? He had gotten himself lost some time ago, and had no idea in what direction the exit was. Zhao Yu turned on his phone's flashlight to take a look at Yang Wentao. His entire face was covered with blood, nose broken, and his eyes looked like the half-blind dog, one of them could not even open anymore. The man was moaning miserably. Even though he was not dead, he was completely passed out. The rock Zhao Yu threw had not landed lightly. Phew, Zhao Yu breathed in and tried to calm his agitated heart. What should he do now? Even though he had caught the suspect and found some money, if he could not find his way out of the cave, then nothing would matter. Then, how should I leave? As if guessing Zhao Yu's thought, the half-blind dog turned around a few times and barked at Zhao Yu, as if he wanted Zhao Yu to follow him. Nah. Zhao Yu did not want to take the chance. He figured that the dog was a sh*t expert, so if it took him around the cave looking for sh*t, how could Zhao Yu survive? Nah, let's think of something else. Zhao Yu waved at the dog, asking it to quiet down and stop moving around. He focused on Yang Wentao again. Since this was Yang Wentao's area, surely he knew where the exit was. But this guy was an escaped murderer. It was not impossible that he would rather die with Zhao Yu than being captured. Also, this guy was very injured. Zhao Yu was not sure when he would wake up. He could not put all of his hope on him. Zhao Yu decided he could only rely on himself. He searched through his mind and quickly found 2 items, the signal amplification device and the invisible GPS. With the 2 of them combined, it seemed like a perfect solution to his problem. Zhao Yu used them immediately. After using the system items, Zhao Yu's phone immediately had signal, so he immediately called Ping Xin. It was already 1 o'clock in the morning, so Ping Xin was half asleep when she picked up Zhao Yu's call. When he described his situation, saying that he had caught Yang Wentao, but was now stuck in a cave, he heard the sound of someone falling on the floor. Zhao Yu gave his location through the invisible GPS to Ping Xin. Now he just had to wait. But Peng Xing said they still needed at least 2 hours to get him. No problem, it was just 2 hours after all. Visit n0vl/bin. For the best novel reading experience. Zhao Yu found a place near the wall and sat down to rest. Because he and Yang Wentao were handcuffed together, he could only pull hard and drag Yang Wentao with him. This guy, Zhao Yu thought, if this guy is actually awake, I want to ask, what were you thinking? Did you want to live your entire life in the cave? Also, was the person near the water reservoir you? Could it be, we got the wrong person? Why did you run to the water reservoir again? But Yang Wentao was completely knocked out, with no sign of waking up. The half-blind dog was very obedient. Seeing that Zhao Yu was no longer moving, he immediately laid beside Zhao Yu and made no noise. Even though the half-blind dog could only smell sh*t, Zhao Yu really liked it. Without its help, he never would have been able to find Yang Wentao for the second time. All right, once we get out, I'll definitely buy a huge chicken for you to eat. Bored, Zhao Yu started thinking about the system again. The Gen Dui hexagram was truly amazing. He had captured the culprit and even made a ton of money. It was truly best of both worlds, totally insane. But, it's already 1 in the morning. I caught the culprit, I got the money, so why isn't the system's ending message not here? Zhao Yu wondered. Could it be, my adventure still isn't over? Thinking this much, Zhao Yu could not help but remember the bag of cash. Not only was it unexpected, but also strange. In an abandoned, crumbling cave, how come there was so much money? Clearly the cash was unrelated to Yang Wentao. Zhao Yu had only picked it up accidentally, but where did the cash come from, and from who? Who hid it there? Maybe the money had something to do with the silver mine. Maybe there was some secret dealing going on in the mine back then, but this was such a huge amount of money, who would just leave it there? Wait, Zhao Yu suddenly remembered something. In front of the tunnel there was a lot of broken rocks. Could it be that something had caved in down here? Oh, Zhao Yu felt a chill run down his back. Could it be that the owner of the cache had been crushed under the rocks because the tunnel had caved in? Could it be that there was still other things to be found? Just as Zhao Yu had expected, at about 3 in the morning, bright light and hurried footsteps finally came from inside the mine pit. With the help of coordinates, the agents who were being sent to provide aid found Zhao Yu quickly. The first thing that Zhao Yu did after meeting the agents was ask them to help him take pictures. Not only did he take pictures with Yang Wentao, whose face was covered in blood, but he even purposely positioned the handcuffs linking the two of them together at a prominent place. He wanted to let everyone see that he, Zhao Yu, was the one who captured Yang Wentao. Peng Xian grabbed and put her hands around Zhao Yu's neck the moment she saw him. You're really amazing. Peng Xian shouted as though she was going crazy. I'm even beginning to suspect that you had already spoken with Yang Wentao. How exactly did you manage to find him? Yeah, an agent nicknamed Dafei wondered. Someone had seen Yang Wentao go toward the west of the reservoir. How did he end up hiding in the 9 area here on the east? Also, the mine area is so huge, how exactly did you manage to find him? Hadn't you gone to the south with Lu? Where's Lu? Visit N0VL/BEIN. For the best novel reading experience. Right? Another agent wondered. Zhao Yu, you're really amazing, no one does things like you. Don't tell me you want to catch all the criminals by yourself? You gotta leave some for us. Heh. Hearing his teammates' jealousy-filled praises, Zhao Yu started to feel pleased with himself but pretended to be humble. I was just lucky, heh. Feeling proud, he suddenly saw an agent chasing the blind dog away. The blind dog looked at Zhao Yu helplessly, looking very pitiful. Zhao Yu saw what was happening and quickly pushed Peng Xian away. He rushed in front of the agents and said to them, Hey, let it come over, the dog is my assistant. What? The agents were all taken by surprise and did not understand what was going on. This blind dog was not only blind and limping, but it was also very filthy and stunk badly. How did such a dog become an assistant? Wow, Zhao Yu, don't tell me, you had the dog help you, someone said in amazement. Follow the smell to this place? This is too unbelievable. Ping Xian was too emotional and did not know what to say, but gave Zhao Yu a pat on his shoulder. If you can't find a partner in future, I'll be your girlfriend. What? Zhao Yu suddenly felt a mix of emotions. While chasing Yang Wentao, Zhao Yu also suffered many injuries, especially the knife wound at his ankle which was still bleeding. Fortunately there was a medical staff who had come with the team, and Ping Xian quickly got them to help Zhao Yu clean up his wounds. The blind dog stood quietly beside Zhao Yu as he was having his wounds cleaned, seemingly protecting its master, but also accompanying him like a good brother. Seeing this, Zhao Yu could not help but feel touched. Right then, he decided that he was going to buy the dog roast chicken, as well as bring him home and let it follow him from now on. Although this dog was good at sniffing poop, it could be trained and there was a possibility that it could turn over a new leaf. If the dog really became a detection expert in future, it could be a great help to him. However, after Zhao Yu expressed his intention, no policeman was willing to let the dog in their car, as it was really too smelly. In the end, Zhao Yu could only bring it into his own car, insisting he could drive himself home. Worried that Zhao Yu might be too tired and that he was injured, Ping Xian had wanted Dafei to help him drive the car, but that idea was rejected by Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu had insisted on driving alone because he did not want others to know about the money he had gotten from the handbag. He had made his calculations properly, thinking that since he managed to find a bag of money from the mine pit, who knows, there might be a second, or even a third bag. Therefore, it was better to not let anyone else know this secret. In the future, he could go back to try his luck and dig again, and he might just become a millionaire or billionaire. Following the normal proceedings, Zhao Yu was supposed to follow the team back to the police station to record the entire process of arrest. However, as it was already in the wee hours, Ping Xian gave him special permission to go home and rest, and other things could be settled the next day. Bringing the blind dog and a handbag full of money, Zhao Yu drove, starting his journey home. As for Ping Xian and the rest, they had to settle some matters first before bringing Yang Wentao back to the police station for interrogation. Although exhausted, Zhao Yu felt extremely excited. This was really great. Although he had gone around for many days in the mountains, he had finally caught the criminal he had hoped for. This time, he had completed the mission all by himself again. Such strength and ability, heh heh heh. He could not help but happily wonder, what would Liu Changhu's reaction be when he found out that he had not only solved the slaughter case, but also fearlessly caught Yang Wentao? He quickly switched his thoughts back onto Jian Wenli's case. As long as the case was not solved, she could not be saved. Just as Zhao Yu was pondering, the system in his brain finally sent a completion notification. The current adventure has been completed. The completion rate is 90%. Congratulations, you have received 3 system tools, please check. TSK, although 90% was not low, Zhao Yu felt greatly unsatisfied. He had caught a criminal and also struck rich today, completing the adventure to near perfection. Why was it only 90%? Also, the completion time today was really late. It was almost dawn and the announcement had only just been made. Oh, in that instant, Zhao Yu seemed to have figured out something. He felt that the system only announced the completion after he had decided to drive home by himself. Could it be, there are other adventures waiting for me and I missed them? What have I missed? TSK, with a tinge of regret, Zhao Yu opened the system tools and saw that he had received 3 invisible fluoroscopic devices. Wah! Without having to read the introduction, the name alone had Zhao Yu's eyes lit up. The invisible fluoroscopic device has the ability to look at the interior of objects in real time by using X-ray without being detected by any other devices for a duration of 10 minutes. Wah! Haha, Zhao Yu licked his lips. This thing is no joke. Since the night vision and telescope had already been used, he had actually thought that he was not able to be a voyeur anymore. Who would have expected this invisible fluoroscopic device to appear? How could he not be elated? During his fight with Yang Wentao in the mine pit, Zhao Yu had even used an invisible tracking device on him, afraid that he might escape again. It was a pity that the tool had not been utilized, and that the night vision, GPS, etc. had been used previously, meaning that he was starting to have less and less tools. It was apparent that these tools were very useful at critical moments. He should try to get more of them in future. The thought of getting tools made Zhao Yu realize that it was already a new day and he should quickly do another hexagram calculation. It was a brand new day. What hexagram would he get? With this thought, Zhao Yu took out a lighter and lit a cigarette as he drove. Seeing Zhao Yu coughing suddenly, the blind dog did not know what had happened to him and even gave a few worried barks. The miracle system has been activated, the system said emotionlessly. Kuan-jin hexagram. Creak! Zhao Yu gave a sudden brake and the car stopped at the edge of the cliff, giving out smoke. The blind dog got a shock and started barking again. Kuan-jin hexagram, the system spoke. Kuan for earth and Jin for thunder. The earth shaken by thunder, role reversal prominent, a turning point in time, nothing will be the same. My God! Zhao Yu turned on the car's emergency light and carefully noted down this hexagram explanation, his heart beating non-stop. Kuan! The Kuan from Qian Kuan. The Kuan hexagram had finally appeared. Kuan represented Earth, but what did it mean in the miracle system? The earth shaken by thunder, role reversal prominent. This hexagram explanation sounded terrifying, making Zhao Yu very excited but also a bit terrified. Could it be that something even bigger would happen? What will it be? Will it be good or bad? According to Zhao Yu's reasoning, Jin could represent his status. Now that he caught Yang Wentao, his place in the police station would naturally rise. But what would happen now that he had gotten the Kuan hexagram? Zhao Yu knew that this was the first time the Kuan hexagram appeared. He had no idea what it could do, so he had to plan in advance. He restarted the car and drove home. Because Yinpan Mountain was very close to Qingshan City, and it was very late, Zhao Yu only took half an hour to return to Shunfeng Street. It was 4 o'clock in the morning when all the shops closed. It was completely silent around the fruit shop. The half-blind dog was quite intelligent. With just a single gesture, it obediently went upstairs without a sound. The light in the hallway was broken, so Zhao Yu could only use his phone for light. Unexpectedly, when he and the dog arrived at the door, he suddenly saw a person lying on the ground. Zhao Yu could not even see clearly and the blind dog ran forward, using its nose to sniff the other's face, making whimpering sounds. Zhao Yu shined the light on the other's face and finally saw who it was. It turned out it was Miss Hua Hua. She was sitting on a long bench, leaning against the door of her house, sleeping. Maybe because she heard something, Hua Hua opened her eyes groggily and suddenly saw a huge German shepherd gazing at her curiously. She shook in shock. Ah! She shook too hard. Hua Hua's body tilted and she fell on the ground with the bench. The half-blind dog was shocked and immediately scurried back to Zhao Yu. Hey! It's me! Zhao Yu turned up the light, and Hua Hua finally saw Zhao Yu's face and immediately crawled up, asking, "Oh, it's you? You, wow, so stinky." Zhao Yu quickly opened the door to his own home, then turned out the light on his phone as he asked, "What's wrong? Why are you sleeping in the hallway at night?" "Oh, Hua Hua immediately blocked her face and replied, I also just came back, but I forgot my key so I couldn't get in the house. I was just waiting at the door for everyone else to come back. Visit N0VL/BEIN. For the best novel reading experience. Zhao Yu's eyes were sharp. He had already seen that Hua Hua's face swollen. Clearly, Miss Hua Hua had ran into some terrible situation that day. To prevent awkward silence, Hua Hua immediately pointed at the half-blind dog. Officer, is this the police dog from your team? Is she injured? What happened to her eye? Also, did you guys go on some huge mission? How come you guys are so stinky? Zhao Yu glanced at Hua Hua a bit. She was wearing a white dress with a pink coat. Even though she looked a little beat up, with her beautiful figure, she still looked quite alluring. Then, how about you rest at my house for a bit? Zhao Yu spoke without a pause. Oh, okay. Yet, Hua Hua did not refuse and immediately went into Zhao Yu's house. Sorry for the inconvenience, officer. No problem. Even though Zhao Yu did not have any improper intentions, he was still excited to have such a beautiful woman in his house. Once the door closed, Zhao Yu could finally see clearly. Hua Hua's right cheek was red and swollen as if someone had slapped her. He did not care to guess the reason why, and simply said to Hua Hua, Here, I have a bedroom here. You can sleep wherever you want. I have to give the dog a shower first, otherwise, my house will be too stinky to live in. Oh, Hua Hua looked at the half-blind dog carefully. She asked, This dog is quite handsome, what's its name? Zhao Yu thought Hua Hua was joking and teased her. Its name is Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes? Hua Hua looked carefully. What an interesting name. Then, officer, how about I help you? I often washed Malinois dogs before. What? What do you mean? Mala what? No way. Hua Hua pointed at the half-blind dog. Isn't this a Malinois dog from Belgium? Your own dog and you don't know? Jesus! Zhao Yu started giggling about what Hua Hua had just said. A half-blind crippled dog, and she thinks it's some kind of tracking dog, and from Belgium? Hilarious, if this dog really was a tracking dog, it could only track sh*t, he thought. This dog started following me today. I don't know anything. If you want to wash it, then that's even better. Zhao Yu looked indifferent. Okay, watch me. I'm very good at giving dogs a bath. Hua Hua took off her coat and eagerly started waving her hand towards the half-blind dog. Come, Sherlock Holmes, time to shower. Hua Hua's long white dress was formal with a plunging neckline. When she leaned down it was almost too alluring. Zhao Yu started staring. The half-blind dog was also familiar with people. When Hua Hua called, it immediately followed her. Soon, splashing sounds came from the bathroom and the sound of Hua Hua talking to the dog. Sherlock Holmes, what happened with your assignment today? Why were you so dirty and stinky? Here, I'll make sure you're nice and clean. TSK, Zhao Yu smacked his lips as he thought. Really, anything could happen today. Not only did he pick up a hottie, but the hottie had also volunteered to wash the dog. This is really interesting. Hua Hua, he had not gotten a kinhexagram, so he should not have any luck with women, right? What kind of coincidence was this? To meet Miss Hua Hua outside without her keys? Seeing that her face was so swollen, she had probably been hit. Maybe I should comfort her later, and something might happen then? Zhao Yu thought. But remembering Hua Hua's occupation, Zhao Yu started to hesitate. Unexpectedly, Hua Hua was very thorough with the dog. It took more than half an hour before she came out with the half-blind dog from the bathroom. Officer, Hua Hua stood behind the bathroom door, her body blocked by door as she told Zhao Yu, Sherlock Holmes is clean. You just have to use a blow dryer to dry him off. Also, I got dirty, can I shower here? Sure. As Zhao Yu nodded, he really wanted to use an invisible surveillance camera, or use the recently obtained invisible fluoroscope but decided against it. If he could only watch, not touch, that would be even more torturous. Then, should I just walk in and try my luck? Just as Zhao Yu's mind began to wander, the half-blind dog walked in front of him. Zhao Yu looked down and was stunned. Holy **T. What kind of sorcery is this? This dog is really pretty? Hua Hua did not act like a stranger. After showering, she walked out wearing only Zhao Yu's tank top. While walking, she looked curvy and charming, however, Zhao Yu had his head lowered as he used a hairdryer on the dog and did not notice Hua Hua. At that moment, the blind dog who was dirty and smelly had taken a completely different look. This fellow was actually quite good-looking. Although it had a black head and yellow body, it had good posture and a smooth body, with 2 long ears standing up straight. It actually looked a little elegant. The dog seemed to enjoy having its hair dried very much and kept wagging its tail. Zhao Yu touched the dog's head, so you're not a blind dog? Your eyes okay? Yes, Hua Hua quickly added on. I wonder which B*** used glue and stuck the hair near its eyelids together. The eye itself is perfectly fine. Oh, Zhao Yu asked again, then, what about the leg? The leg might have been beaten by someone or it could have been broken by a fall, Hua Hua said as she stroked the dog's lower back. If we send it over to my dad for an operation, things may turn for the better. Your dad? Zhao Yu lifted his head and saw that Hua Hua was wearing his tank top. Although the tank top was loose, it was unable to hide her seductive figure. My family deals with keeping dogs, Hua Hua said mindlessly. He knows many vets. Let's bring the dog to him soon. Discover dated novels on NOV/E/Lbin.co. Zhao Yu gawked at Hua Hua as he felt a gush of unbearable heat in his chest. Seems like you don't know the police dog well even though you brought it back. Hua Hua took over the hairdryer from Zhao Yu and started blowing her glossy black hair. It's a Belgian Malinois, and it's commonly used by the police as tracking dogs. Zhao Yu swallowed his saliva and said, is it male or female? How old is it? How much is it worth? Oh. Hua Hua looked at Zhao Yu and laughed. Officer, are you testing me? I grew up with dogs, you can't stump me with this. The dog is male, about 2 to 3 years old. As for money, a normal Belgian Malinois is around 10,000 renminbi, but if it's a purebred Belgian Malinois, it'll be another story. With this, Hua Hua began searching the dog's body, as though looking for something. I've heard from my dad that there's a top breed among this type of dogs. It is a purebred and extremely expensive. One can cost up to 1 million RMB. As for your dog, I really can't tell. Zhao Yu was not paying attention to Hua Hua's introduction at all. He kept glancing under Hua Hua's tank top and wondering if she was wearing anything underneath. Unexpectedly, Hua Hua accidentally blew hot air onto her injured face while drying her hair and opened her mouth in pain. Are you okay? Zhao Yu could not help but ask, what exactly happened to you? Hua Hua lowered her head in embarrassment and replied softly, nothing, I accidentally fell. Knew you were gonna say that. Zhao Yu thought. He was aware that this girl came home in the middle of the night and was unable to enter her house. If she had forgotten her keys, she could have just gotten a room at a nearby hotel. He had not seen her carrying a bag or cell phone, proving that her things had probably been taken by someone. She even tried to cover it up, but it was obvious that the person who took her things and beat her was someone whom she did not dare to offend. Zhao Yu was used to seeing situations where pimps beat up prostitutes. However, now that his identity had changed, he could not help but say, "If you need any help, you can look for me." Hearing Zhao Yu's words, Hua Hua shook a little and tears welled up in the corners of her eyes. After Zhao Yu showered and came out from the bathroom, Hua Hua had already fallen asleep on his bed, and the dog was curled up under the bed looking sleepy. After seeing Zhao Yu, the dog opened his eyes and looked at Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu gestured him to keep quiet and then went another bedroom to rest. The sky was already turning bright outside. Although Zhao Yu had been running around and battling for one whole day, he was still highly excited and unable to fall asleep. Yang Wentao, a bag of old notes, the Kuan hexagram, the Belgian Malinois, and the seductive Hua Hua. All of these factors kept cycling through his brain and provoking his thoughts. I've caught Yang Wentao this time, wonder how much will I be rewarded? How much are those old notes worth? If their value could be increased tenfold, wouldn't I be rich and even be able to afford a house? Zhao Yu asked himself. Kuan hexagram, what adventure will happen today? Will I be able to deal with it? The homeless dog that I brought home is actually some Belgian tracking dog? I wonder what's his background. Was he abandoned or born homeless? And, Hua Hua, a great beauty is inside my house. That sexy body, that smooth skin, making my mouth dry and thirsty, how can I sleep? This Hua Hua is really, what do you mean by wearing my top? Are you simply trying to seduce me? TSK, tell me, since your dad raises dogs, why do you still do this kind of job when your family is already so rich? Don't tell me, you're doing it purely for the excitement? Then, why don't you just excite me? Zhao Yu finally fell asleep after a long while thinking about all these. However, he did not sleep for long. Before it was 8 in the morning, he was awakened a notification from his phone. He unlocked his phone and saw that it was Miaowing who had sent him a development on Jian Wenli's case as she had promised. Zhao Yu was already addicted to case investigation. Although he was still half asleep, he quickly woke up and looked at the record carefully. Miaowing had sent most of Ryongqi case investigation unit to thoroughly check on Jian Wenli's case. Although they had gotten a few new clues, there was no obvious developments on the case. Evidence proved that on the day Lin Meifeng had attempted to kill Jian Wenli, there was another person who had gone to Jian Wenli's house prior to that. This person had not only stole most of the valuable items, but he was very likely to be the real murderer who killed Jian Wenli. According to Miao Ying's deduction, this person could have decided to steal things from Jian Wenli's house in the spur of the moment. However, he had bumped into Jian Wenli and strangled her to death before moving the body onto the bed. Not long after that, Lin Meifeng sneaked into the bedroom and stabbed the dead body, thinking that the person may have been killed by her. If their deduction was right, the real murderer could be a thief who had often committed robbery. Miaowing focused all her energy on tracking down repeat offenders with theft records that year. Wrong. Zhao Yu put down his phone and pondered seriously. His feeling was opposite of Miao Ying's. With his prior experience, he felt that this real murderer was some repeat offender. Before Zhao Yu crossed over, he had often engaged in sneak, immoral acts like theft. There was a rule regarding that line of work called no work during a storm. Basically, it meant that thieves would not try to infiltrate homes during a storm, especially at night because during a storm, people tended not to sleep well. It was easy to be caught during that time. In Jian Wenli's case, it had been pouring rain that day, with lightning and thunder. Any experienced criminal would not pick such a time to act. Zhao Yu's feeling was the exact opposite of Miao Ying's. He thought that the person who killed Jian Wenli was an inexperienced amateur. Also, Zhao Yu thought that there was no way in the world the situation was a coincidence. Lin Meifeng had planned to go kill Jian Wenli, but someone had strangled Jian Wenli ahead of time? It was not like they had the miracle system. Such a coincidence was simply impossible. He believed that Jian Wenli's real kill had something to do with either Lin Meifeng or Lu Pengfei. Then, what's the relationship? Zhao Yu's brows were knitted tight as he thought. For some reason, the answer felt far away, untouchable, but Zhao Yu also felt like he was very close to the truth, as if he was one step away. Just as Zhao Yu was thinking, a yell came from downstairs. It was someone calling, "Hua Hua." Listening carefully, he realized that it was Yang Hong who lived next door. Hearing her calling, Zhao Yu put on his clothes and walked into the lobby. Unexpectedly, Hua Hua had also heard Yang Hong, came out from the other bedroom, and opened the door before Zhao Yu could. "Yang Hong, I'm here." Yang Hong tilted her head and saw Hua Hua in a large vest, and Zhao Yu who was messily dressed. She paused for 2 seconds, then from between the two poked out a dog. You guys," Yang Hong's eyes widened. Her gaze shifted and became hard to read. "Oh, don't misunderstand." Hua Hua hurriedly explained, "Hong, yesterday I couldn't get in, and I ran into this officer, so I slept over for a night." "We didn't." Hua Hua, Yang Hong still did not understand the situation. She pointed at the vest on Hua Hua and asked, "Officer Zhao, you really know how to take advantage of the situation, huh? Already took off her clothes?" "Me? No." Zhao Yu innocently tried to explain, "It was from the shower." "What? You guys showered together?" Yang Hong's voice raised in surprise. "Woof! Woof! Woof!" It was hard to say if the dog detected hostility, but it started barking loudly. "Hong, it really wasn't like that. Yesterday, the officer kindly let me in." Yesterday. "Oh right." As if just remembering the main issue, Yang Hong immediately pulled Hua Hua over. "Yesterday I heard that bastard did something? Did he really hit you?" Hua Hua nodded. "That bastard." Yang Hong carefully examined Hua Hua's injury and angrily yelled, "He can't even be considered human. Did he also take everything you have? Wait, I'll go get it back for you." No, Hua Hua was alarmed. "Yang Hong, sis, you know his background. We can't touch him. Other things are fine, but my key's in the bag. Yang Hong, how about we change the lock? I'm worried he'll come and bother us more." Listening to the two's chat, it was not hard to guess what kind of problems they were facing. But Zhao Yu's thoughts were completely different. When he heard Hua Hua mention key and lock, he suddenly shook as if he had remembered something important. "Hua Hua, let me think of an idea on how to fix this issue." Yang Hong gestured for Hua Hua to go first, then she turned to Zhao Yu. "Officer Zhao, sorry for the trouble, I misunderstood. Thank you for taking care of Hua Hua." No problem. Hearing Yang Hong talking to him, Zhao Yu could only let go of his thoughts and speak seriously. "As long as the discount you give me still a discount." Huh? Yang Hong paused, then understood what Zhao Yu meant. She blushed heavily. Hua Hua came back with her clothes and asked, "What discount?" "Woof! Woof!" Before Zhao Yu could speak, the dog barked again. "Sherlock Holmes, I'm leaving." Hua Hua squatted and patted the dog's head. "Later I'll ask my dad to find you a vet to see if we can fix your leg." "See you." Woof! The dog wagged his tail at Hua Hua, as if understanding her words. Zhao Yu pondered. He could not bring his dog to the police station, right? He immediately stopped Hua Hua and asked if she could temporarily take care of Sherlock Holmes. Hua Hua nodded. Once the two women went home with the dog, the hallway was finally quiet. Phew, Zhao Yu breathed out. This morning was already so busy, it seemed like today's earth shaken by thunder was destined to happen. After this, he really had to be more careful. Because he still had to take care of business regarding Yang Wentao, he no longer had any desire to sleep, so instead he simply washed up and went to the police station for his report. Inside the office of the police station, Captain Liu Changhu was anxiously pacing. The inside of his ashtray was filled with cigarette butts. He wanted to put out the cigarette in his hand, but with nowhere to do so, he angrily threw it in the teacup. Just as Liu Changhu threw out the cigarette, the captain's secretary, Song Chao, entered. Out of habit, Song Chao knocked on the door politely before entering. Captain Liu, he came in with a document bag and talked to Liu Changhu. The bureau chief has ordered an emergency meeting at 10:30 in the meeting room. Everyone from the key case investigation unit has to attend. Please go ahead and announce it. Upstat from N0/V/LB/co/M. Oh! Liu Changhu knew that this was part of an old procedure. Every time a large case was closed, there would always be a ceremonial meeting to reward and motivate the investigators who participated in closing the case. Zhao Yu had closed the Uptown slaughter case, so obviously the higher-ups would praise him. Captain Liu, Zhao Yu, Song Chao looked as if he wanted to say something to Liu Changhu, but was hesitant. Zhao Yu. Liu Changhu clenched his teeth. He was just luck this time. Song, don't worry, isn't he good at closing cases? Good. I'll just have him stay in the cold case unit. See if he can close any others. I don't believe it. No, I didn't mean that. Song Chao shook his head. I just heard, apparently the water reservoir floating corpse case under Team A's supervision has been closed too. The suspect, Yang Wentao, was captured. Oh. Is that so? How come Peng Xin hadn't reported to me? Liu Changhu was surprised. Was he just recently captured? Apparently, last night, Song Chao spoke carefully. And the person who caught Yang Wentao was no one else but Zhao Yu. What? Liu Changhu's eyes bulged immediately, and they looked as if they could bleed from the strain. He's here, he's here. Looking at the GPS signal, Li Beinei waved her hand at the Team A agents before they left and pretended to work as they usually did. Just a little later, Zhao Yu walked boldly into the office. Just as Zhao Yu reached the middle of the office, the agents suddenly turned and set off the small fireworks in their hands. At that instant, sparks and colored ribbons flew, and the whole Team A office looked like a wedding hall. What is this? Zhao Yu was first startled and then quickly realized that his colleagues were celebrating him. Congratulations! Great job! You're amazing! Come, gimme a kiss! The agents shook hands with Zhao Yu and congratulated him one by one before giving him a round of applause. The fireworks and the applause made Zhao Yu dizzy. He felt as if he were back at City Hall getting an award, however, he was the only recipient this time. Senior! Li Beinei tugged Zhao Yu's arm excitedly. I haven't finalized the report for the slaughter case. And I still have to help you write the report for catching the murderer. I'm gonna have calluses on my fingers soon. Are you trying to work me to death? Heh. Zhao Yu was in a happy daze as he mumbled, good, not bad, thank you. What? Just a thank you? Li Beinei was naturally not satisfied. Isn't that too superficial? You're right. Zhao Yu finally woke up from his daze and cupped Li Beinei's chin in his hand before shouting, seafood lunch at Frang Fish Restaurant. I'll treat everyone today at noon, all are invited. Yes. All the agents started cheering after hearing that Zhao Yu was going to treat them to seafood. Peng Xian pulled at Zhao Yu's other arm and said loudly, "That's great. 3 big cases and 4 criminals. Just the rewards alone will make you rich. It's only right that you treat us to a good meal." Whoa, the agents roared excitedly and the atmosphere was at its climax. "Oh, right," Peng Xian said to the crowd, "I've just received a notice. There'll be a meeting at the main conference room later AR 10:30. The leaders are gonna give us some recognition. Don't forget to attend." "All right, enough celebrating. Don't let the leaders think that we're all crazy. Quick, get back to work." Oh, the agents stopped their cheering and followed Peng Xian's instructions. They returned to their respective workplaces. "You," Peng Xian said to Zhao Yu earnestly, "after this, go over to Dafei and make a statement to report the process of capturing Yang Wentao. I've got to tell you, you've earned so much credit in such a short period of time. The higher-ups will definitely use you wisely. You better find a chance to talk to the leaders and get out from the cold case department fast. Come back teammate to help me, I can't do without you here, new estirise at n/vel/b/i/n.co. Oh. Understood. Zhao Yu nodded. Peng Xian was sincerely thinking of him and he would never forget her kindness. However, he had not decided whether he was really going to leave the cold case department. While recording his statement, Zhao Yu discovered that Yang Wentao had already gained consciousness and had revealed the truth of the crime. The man whom the eyewitness had seen at the reservoir was indeed Yang Wentao. After resisting arrest, Yang Wentao went to hide in Yinpan town first. As he had previously done a research project there, he was very familiar with the mine area. Just as what Zhao Yu expected, Yang Wentao chose a place that was safe and also far from any crowds. He hid in the mine pit during the day, and came out to look for food at night. However, after hiding for a few days, he started to lose confidence and decided to cross over the huge mountains to the other provinces. Unexpectedly, when he was passing by the reservoir, he met a meddlesome villager and the two even had an argument. Yang Wentao felt that the man might have recognized him, so he pretended to go west and then made a detour back to the mine pit in Yinpan town. The helpful villager really had reported it and caused Peng Xian and teammate to investigate in the wrong direction. If not for Zhao Yu's miraculous performance, it would not have been possible to nab Yang Wentao even after half a month of chasing him. Thus, Zhao Yu had more reason to feel pleased with himself. While reporting, he embellished some of the details on purpose, saying that due to his careful thinking, rigorous logic, superb analysis, and great perseverance, on top of his indomitable spirit, that he was able to overcome all the danger and difficulties and arrest Yang Wentao. He even took a photo of his injured ankle and got Dafei to attach it to the report. After settling the report, Zhao Yu finally had time to go back to his office to catch his breath. Cold Case Department. Looking at the long name on his desk, Zhao Yu lamented with mixed emotions while feeling pleased with himself. Heh. So what if I'm a one-man team? I've solved the case. Not only did I solve the case I'm in charge of, but I also caught another criminal on the way. With my performance, my results, my abilities, who would still dare to look down on me? Lu Changhu, where are you? I haven't seen that fella for a long time. Without him buzzing in my ears, how can I get used to this silence? Senior. At that moment, Li Beini held a cup of freshly brewed coffee and placed it on Zhao Yu's desk. With 2 packs of sugar. It must have been tough last night. Come, drink this to wake you up. Seeing Li Beini beaming happily, Zhao Yu felt particularly warm inside. Senior, I heard that you even picked up a mystical dog that has the ability to find criminals. Li Beini asked curiously, where is it? Where is it? Zhao Yu thought to himself, What mystical dog that could catch criminals? It's purely a poop-finding expert. Bainey. Zhao Yu did not answer but asked another question instead. Have you seen Lu Changhu these past few days? Why does that fella act as if he's dead and doesn't show his face? Heh, what do you think? Li Bainey looked left and right before lowering her head and whispering to Zhao Yu. Both Sis Ping from Team A and Chu Ping from Team B are very displeased with this captain. Lu Changhu is completely uncomparable with Captain Jean. When there's a case, he doesn't arrange the work or coordinate with the leaders. He doesn't even bother with the overall arrangements of the other departments, as if he has nothing to do with them. Sis Peng has not even reported that you caught Yang Wentao last night. It's the same over at team leader Chu's side. They solved the nursing home robbery case last night, but also have yet to tell him. Lu Changhu even lost his temper at the two team leaders over these two matters just now. Oh, I see. Zhao Yu pondered. It seemed like he was not the only one displeased with Lu Changhu. Even the two team leaders had opinions about him. Actually, according to some gossip I overheard, Li Bainey said mysteriously, Lu Changhu is only taking over Captain Jin's temporarily. He was already elected as a deputy chief. How could he be satisfied with being a detective captain? This is only a jumping platform. He'll definitely rise up in rank before long. Oh, Zhao Yu started to think. Since Lu Changhu did not have any intention to stay long in the key case investigation unit, did it mean that he would not fight with Zhao Yu again? No. He suddenly thought about if Lu Changhu became the deputy bureau chief and gained more power. Wouldn't that be worse for Zhao Yu? No, I have to be like the poop expert and show him some dung. I'll make him stink and put him to shame. I'm gonna make him stuck in his position, unable to rise up any further. If not, I'll be in trouble. So, what should I do to put him to shame? How to destroy someone's reputation? Zhao Yu grinned because that was one of his specialties before he crossed over. He had at least a few thousand ways to destroy someone's reputation. Distributing propaganda, photoshopping images, and spreading rumors online were all minor offenses. Zhao Yu's specialty was hiring people to stage acts. Using Lu Changhu as an example, Zhao Yu could hire a pregnant woman and send her to Lu Changhu's wife's office to make a fuss. She could say that the child is Lu Changhu's and ask his wife to pay up. But Zhao Yu was not dumb. He knew that while these methods could work on other people, it was not even plausible against the captain of a police squad. They just needed to do some simple research and the truth would come out. In the worst-case scenario, it could even be connected back to Zhao Yu. In order to ruin Lu Changhu's name, Zhao Yu felt like he had used his trump card. Like, ask for Yang Hong's help and hire one of the popular ladies to get close to Lu Changhu, then use that as evidence to take him down. Right, to deal with Lu Changhu, those sorts of steps were necessary. As Zhao Yu thought to himself, the phone on Li Bainey's desk rang. After Li Bainey picked up, her face showed much reluctance despite that she was constantly agreeing with the speaker. When she put down the phone, Li Bainey's pout was clearly visible. What's up? Who was it? Zhao Yu asked curiously. Team leader Chu Ping. Li Bainey seemed dejected. She said the new secretaries in Team B didn't have any experience and asked me to go help tutor them in writing reports. Really? Isn't it just the nursery home burglary case report? They can write it by themselves, so why bother me? Isn't the burglary case the responsibility of Team B? Zhao Yu asked. This wasn't a collaborative case, so she shouldn't have any authority over you, right? Yeah. Li Bainey looked helpless. That's the rule, but what can I do as an intern? Not to mention, I'm so good at writing reports. Also, hey? Senior, what are you doing? No, Li Beinei watched as Zhao Yu grabbed the phone. She knew something was wrong. She immediately got up to stop him, but Zhao Yu had already connected with Chu Ping's office. Hello? Is this team leader Chu? I'm Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu pressed the phone to his ear and stretched over a desk, speaking in a rather fake tone. Hello, I have something I need to ask of you. I'm happy that I solved my case today. This afternoon, I plan to have a seafood feast at Feitong Fish Village. Will you be able to show up? No, Li Beinei did not want to be enemies with Chu Ping and kept trying to snatch the phone from Zhao Yu, but he grabbed her by the neck and stopped her. What? No time? Ah, how impolite of you. Zhao Yu kept talking to Chu Ping. I was going to talk to you. You already know that I've solved 2 big cases here, right? Li Beinei's writing reports for me right now. There's 2 reports, and each of them is more than 1,000 pages. She's simply too busy. If you need her help, please wait until next month, okay? What? I'm unreasonable? Zhao Yu said. How dare you? You just have a minor burglary case, in a nursery home too. Why do you need to make a report? All of my cases are murders. Murders, get it? Also, huh? Don't hang up. I'm not done. Che. Zhao Yu slammed the phone back onto the table and smiled at Li Beinei. She hung up. You don't need to go anymore. Aw, I'm going to die at your hand. Li Beinei snatched Zhao Yu's neck and shook him. You're strong, you can offend people and get away with it, don't pull me into it. I still need to live. Nah. Zhao Yu grabbed Li Beinei's shoulder and turned her around. He spoke sunnily, just follow me, with me there's seafood. Go and help me make the reservation. As he spoke, although he was not sure why, but maybe it was a habit, he gave a small pat on Li Beinei's butt. You? Li Beinei clutched her butt and shivered, her face reddened. Zhao Yu just realized that he had gotten carried away and immediately turned around and pretended like it had not been him. Li Beinei was also a little flustered and was not sure if she should be angry or not. She picked up her phone and called Feitong Fish Village to make a reservation. She was quite generous. She only ordered 10 lobsters and more than 20 abalones. Zhao Yu did not care one bit. I got so much money, go for it. Go. If you guys can eat it, I can pay for it, he thought. Seeing his coffee turn cold, he picked it up and took a sip. Seeing Li Beinei finish the call, he immediately apologized to the girl. Team leader Chu really is something. A burglary case needs a report? In my opinion, this shouldn't even be the work of the key case investigation, right? Li Beinei put down the phone. Not quite. I didn't know if you heard. Even though it was a burglary case, apparently there was some inside story, newest to rise at n/vel/b/i/n.co. What? Zhao Yu had not heard. The case wasn't that simple. Li Beinei spoke seriously, theft by the guard. The culprit was actually a security officer in the nursery home. Oh. Something like that? Zhao Yu suddenly became interested. The nursery home got a donation numbering in the millions, and the security guard set his eye on it. He even planned the robbery for a few months. Li Beinei said, first, he put a camera in the nursery home head office to get the security code for the safe. Then, by slightly changing the security camera's angles in the nursery home, he found a path that the cameras couldn't see in order to successfully carry out his plan. After the robbery, he didn't immediately take care of the money. He hid it in the basement of the nursery home, then he acted like nothing happened and went back to work. Oh. Quite smart. How did he get caught in the end? Zhao Yu was curious. Isn't it easy? Li Beinei pouted. It's because it was so perfect. Team leader Chu immediately realized that it was an inside job. If it was from an outsider, how could they not be caught on the camera? Oh, fooled by his own intelligence. Zhao Yu sighed. When they interrogated each security officer, Li Beinei continued, some security guard mentioned that he saw a pair of new keys inside the culprit's pocket. Once team leader Chu found the key, she realized they had been made by the culprit himself. Not only could it open the nursery home's head office, but also the security room and even the basement. Using this line of evidence, the culprit immediately fessed up, and the money was found in the basement. How about it, isn't it great? Li Beinei waved her hands but saw that Zhao Yu glued to his place and asked, Senior, are you okay? Zhao Yu held the noise for more than 10 seconds, as if he had realized something important. Suddenly, he slammed his fist on the table and yelled in excitement, "Ah, holy sh**t. I got it." Got what? Li Beinei was confused. Key. Lock. Zhao Yu's eyes widened, so, the key to the issue was right here. What key? Which lock? Beinei. Zhao Yu immediately straightened up and spoke in a hurry, right now, I'm going to go look up an important case. If something happens in the station, please keep an eye on it. Huh? Wait, what other case do you have? Li Beinei looked at her watch and was rather nervous. Peng Xian already said there was a meeting at 10:30. It's almost time, and you're the reason why, yet, by the time Li Beinei raised her head, Zhao Yu had already disappeared. Different from normal meetings, the two most important seats on the meeting table were reserved. The head bureau chief, Zhou Anong, and the other deputy bureau chiefs were all seated at second-level seats. Peng Xian. Before the meeting, Lu Changhu asked Peng Xian anxiously, Where's Zhao Yu? Didn't you inform him? I did inform him. Peng Xian also looked anxious. I've reminded him a few times. Just now Li Beinei told me that he said he had an urgent case to attend to and left in a hurry. Lu Changhu was panicking and his face was trembling. All of you are really outrageous, what other things are you hiding from me, huh? Aren't the cases all solved? What else is he investigating? Isn't he on the cold case unit? Peng Xian could not be bothered with Lu Changhu's accusations. There are tons of old cases. Who knows which one he's investigating? Lu Changhu glared with his eyes wide open as if he was going to eat someone up. Let me tell you, there are leaders from the province and city levels here today, and they all indicated that they want to see Zhao Yu. How can he not come? If Bureau Chief Zhou blames us, how are you gonna explain? Tisk, Peng Xian was extremely anxious. She had called Zhao Yu many times but he did not pick up. Having no other choice, she asked Li Beinei for help, but Li Beinei could only see Zhao Yu's location that showed he was at Rongyang Detention Center, and he still could not be reached by phone. Changhu. At that moment, Bureau Chief Zhou swept his eyes across the detectives and also discovered the problem. He waved at Lu Changhu and asked, Where's Zhao Yu? Why don't I see him? Lu Changhu's forehead was sweating but he took advantage of the situation and answered, I have no idea where he's gone to. He could not be contacted. What? Bureau Chief Zhou frowned deeply. Peng Xian saw that Lu Changhu was making up stories about Zhao Yu and quickly explained to the Bureau Chief Zhou, Zhao Yu received an important lead just now and went to Rongyang Detention Center to investigate the case. Outrageous! Peng Xian had not expected that her explanation would enrage the bureau chief. Can't he investigate the case some other time? The province leader specifically wanted to see him, and Zhao Yu was informed long ago. This is really outrageous. He really has no regard for the organization and the rules, totally no discipline. Peng Xian was taken aback by the bureau chief's anger. When she received the notice, no one had mentioned any leader specifically wanting to see Zhao Yu. If she had known this earlier, she would not have let Zhao Yu leave as he pleased. Thinking of this, she could not help but shift her eyes to Liu Changhu. It seemed like this was Liu Changhu's doing again. Bureau Chief Zhou, please simmer down. Liu Changhu seemed to have caught an idea and said ambiguously, Zhao Yu is just too eager to solve the case. Look, he has already solved 3 cases and caught 4 criminals by himself. He feels proud and mighty now. How would he have time to come for the meeting? Huh. Bureau Chief Zhou fell for his trick and said furiously, so what if he solved the cases? He still has to obey the rules. Oh. He thinks that he's great after solving the cases? He already knew that this meeting was related to him, but he still dared to be absent for no reason. Liu, this has to be taken care of. Yes. Liu Changhu nodded willingly. I'll tell him off when he comes back. Hearing all these, Peng Xian's face turned red with anger. She had wanted to challenge a cunning villain like Liu Changhu, but there were so many leaders around. She could only swallow her rage. Bureau Chief Zhou, unexpectedly, Deputy Bureau Chief Wan Xiaoxiao suddenly spoke, don't be angry, a detective should have such drive. Zhao Yu did not absent himself for no reason, he's investigating a case after all. If we explain to the leaders later, they should be able to understand. Hearing Bureau Chief Wan's reasoning, Bureau Chief Zhou simmered a little but was still not pleased. That's true, but the leaders had told him beforehand. If he still doesn't turn up, it looks bad on us. How can he be so immature? Just as Bureau Chief Zhou was talking to Bureau Chief Wan about Zhao Yu, the main door opened and Office Administrator Lin led 2 leaders wearing high-ranking police uniforms into the conference room. Bureau Chief Zhou and the other deputy bureau chiefs quickly stood up to salute them and led them to their seats after shaking hands with them. Let me introduce our guests. Bureau Chief Wan pointed at the leader who was slightly short and said to the agents, this is Bureau Chief Yang from the City Bureau. Let's welcome him. There was a round of applause. Right after, she pointed at the big and tall leader and said, this is Chief Su Yang from our Province Public Security Bureau's Supervisory Department. Let's welcome him. The agents continued to clap but their minds were full of doubt. It was already very rare for a city-level leader to participate in an internal branch meeting, let alone someone from the province level. All this seemed very unusual. Moreover, once they heard that Chief Su was from the supervisory department, they felt even more uneasy and were all speculating what it could possibly imply. Could it be that there were some issues with Rongyang branch? Visit no. v. 3lb/n. cm for new OVL. Chief Su Yang is here at our branch today. Wan Xiaoxiao understood what the agents were thinking and quickly explained, mainly to complete an important mission appointed by the province. As the investigation target is in Rongyang district, they need our branch to cooperate and support them. That's right, the 2 leaders are here today mainly to meet everyone and get to know one another. Bureau Chief Zhou added, for the next 1 to 2 months, the 2 leaders may come to our police station often. If they require the help of any department, please do your best to cooperate. Oh, although the agents understood what had just been said, hearing that the leaders might come often still caused some apprehension. Also, everyone was curious to know what exactly their mission entailed. Why did they need such a long time? After the introduction, the leaders started to speak. Deputy Bureau Chief Young from the City Bureau explained the general situation again and also said that Chief Su's mission was very important. The City Bureau had given it a high level of attention and support, and Rongyang branch should also do their best to help. When it was the province leader's turn to speak, Chief Su Young only said a few words. He said a few typical words of gratitude before going silent. Although he was a leader, he was tall and sturdy, and looked very oppressive. Since entering the conference room, he had a straight face, looking solemn and dignified, very much like a leader. After the leaders finished speaking, the meeting officially started. It was a routine summary and commendation meeting. The meeting process could be summarized into 3 areas: acknowledge achievements, summarize experiences, keep up the good work. Besides the third point, the first 2 topics were both related to Zhao Yu. Among the recently solved cases, other than Team B's nursing home robbery case, all others were directly linked to Zhao Yu. As for summarizing experience, Bureau Chief Luan had hoped that Zhao Yu could do a complete report for the agents and share his case-solving experience in order to work toward the goal of improving together. However, due to Zhao Yu's absence, it was obvious that these 2 areas did not go smoothly. When the Uptown slaughter case was mentioned, Chief Young from the City Bureau could not help but ask, "Oh, right. These few cases that were recently solved by your branch were all significant, especially that 10-year cold case." The City Bureau's Criminal Investigation Department and Publicity Department are particularly interested in it and hope to publicize it. "May I know, who is Comrade Zhao Yu?" Hearing Chief Young mention Zhao Yu, Bureau Chief Zhou and the rest could not help but look awkward. Zhao Yu, Kiki, Bureau Chief Luan had wanted to explain to the leaders. At that critical moment, the main door of the conference room suddenly creaked open. A man was seen slipping in through the door. The man's steps were light as he tiptoed, but he found a seat with amazing speed. After sitting down, he started to listen attentively as if nothing had happened. Everyone looked and saw that this person was none other than Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu originally wanted to sneak to his seat without anyone noticing. But just as he entered the meeting room, Bureau Chief Young had just mentioned his name, which made him all the more noticeable. Even though he snuck into the corner and sat down, everyone's focus simply followed him. At first, Zhao Yu did not notice as licked his lips and asked the investigator beside him in a low voice, "Hey, bro, how far did we get? Is it time for my praise?" Only when he saw the investigator avoid his gaze and did not dare to speak did Zhao Yu notice that all of the investigators in the meeting room were all looking at him. Huh? Zhao Yu was a little confused. Wasn't I just a little late? Why are they all staring at me? He thought. Zhao Yu. Luan Xiaoxiao was also looking at the tardy Zhao Yu and immediately waved her hand in greeting. "Come here, Mr. Zhao Yu, come here, here." Zhao Yu did not get it, but he could only leave his chair and make his way toward the higher-ups. As he walked forward, Zhao Yu was even more confused because he kept seeing Ping Xian make faces at him. Then he saw 2 new faces at the front of the meeting room. Then at the end, he saw Bureau Chief Zhou Enong rubbing his face repeatedly, clearly unhappy. Higher-ups, Luan Xiaoxiao spoke as she pointed to Zhao Yu, "This is Mr. Zhao Yu. My apologies, he was researching a difficult case and was late." Huh? When he saw Zhao Yu, the stoic department leader, Su Yang, suddenly spoke. Not only did he speak, but he even stood up and pointed. "What? Why is it you?" Zhao Yu paused, then looked carefully. He finally recognized the other and was shocked as he spoke, "Sh*T, you?" Wah, the investigators were suddenly thunderstruck. Bureau Chief Zhou nearly lost his mind. This is too crazy." A grand police officer, with such a sailor's mouth, the shock continued. Department leader Su Yang apparently did not care and left his seat and walked towards Zhao Yu. He shook his hand as he spoke. "I didn't think you'd work here." You, Zhao Yu pointed at Su Yung, very confused. Why is your face white? Wasn't your face red? Cough. That was the alcohol's fault. Su Yung shook Zhao Yu's hand and started laughing as if he was talking to a close friend. Afterward, I thought about it more. Even though you have quite a temper, you were still helping people. Our intentions were both good. As it turned out, Su Yung was the red-faced man Zhao Yu had run into at the hot pot shop a few days ago. Zhao Yu knew that the man was a police officer, but he never would have expected that they were actually a provincial-level officer. Technically, Zhao Yu and this person had only met once, and it was under a rather aggressive situation. But Zhao Yu was sneaky. Seeing Su Yung talk to him first, he responded warmly and immediately had an idea. Well, *T, this is such a rare opportunity. If I don't make use of the situation to my favor, then I'd be an idiot. Zhao Yu feigned a close relationship and patted the department leader on the shoulder as he laughed. Don't praise me. The police officers work for the people, what I did was my duty. But I'm still quite angry that you stole my thunder. Also, what you said that day doesn't sit well with me. Even though your arm is thicker than mine, if you really want to arm wrestle with me, I doubt you could win. Visit v3lb/n.cm for new OVL. Off with you. Department leader Su was quite cooperative. He even started laughing and joking with Zhao Yu. Then we'll compete later, I'll have you crying for mercy. Okay, it's a promise. All right, let's get back to business. We can talk later. Zhao Yu pointed at the higher-up seats and lowered his voice. Tonight at 6, I call sitting on the east side. No, tonight I have plans, how about tomorrow noon? Su Yung smiled as he returned to his seat but continued with a pause, but I'll invite you. Wow, even though the two talked quietly, the police officers there has heard most of it. Everyone's perspective of Zhao Yu completely changed. My God, what kind of situation is this? Why does Zhao Yu know provincial-level officials? And, by the look of it, they're quite close. The provincial officer even invited him out for food. What kind of situation is this? Oh, someone realized something and thought to themselves, no wonder Zhao Yu was so bold and arrogant. He has huge support to back him up. Ah, my heart, some people thought. The key case investigation unit was too dangerous. Thank God, they had not offended this demon King Zhao. Lu Chenghu also could not help but be confused. Even though from the look of it, Zhao Yu and this high officer should not have had any close contact, the way they patted each other's shoulders and even talked about arm wrestling clearly meant that their relationship was more than what met the eye. Bureau Chief Zhou Enong was equally surprised. He should have known everyone's relationship to each other in the office. He had never heard that Zhao Yu knew anybody at the provincial level. This Zhao Yu was not someone normal. Seeing Zhao Yu and department leader Su's friendly chat, Bureau Chief Yang of the city-level station could not help but place Zhao Yu at a higher level in his mind. Before, he had only heard that Zhao Yu had closed 3 big cases within a month and caught 4 culprits. To think his connections would be so wide too. He knew the department leader of the provincial office? Bureau Chief Yang immediately started smiling and praising Zhao Yu, saying that he was a model police officer and that everyone should learn from him. To satisfy the curiosity of the crowd, he even asked Zhao Yu to describe the cases for everyone so they could learn from him. Making himself look good was Zhao Yu's specialty. In front of everyone, he described the entire process of him solving each case. He exaggerated some things here and there, and even completely fabricated some elements. The way he described the cases was like some Hollywood movie. First, he spoke about how carefully he looked through the cases, how he respected his beloved job, how much he gave out, and how he even sacrificed food and sleep to research each case. Then, he talked about how focused he was, how determined he was, and that never gave up. He mentioned all the Dawnggate he encountered while investigating each cases, not holding back any details. Finally, he spoke of how he battled the culprit in a fight to the death, how dangerous it was, and how his life had been on the line. He even took off his socks and let everyone see the injury on his foot. Amazingly, Zhao Yu's shameless advertisement of himself had a very clear effect. He actually grabbed everyone's attention. All of the investigators were drawn in by his story, and the clapping did not cease. A few higher-ups were truly impressed by Zhao Yu's supposed investigation ability. Even department leader Su kept giving him a thumbs up, praising him. Thus, the meeting ended with the Zhao Yu's self-advertisement, followed by the higher-ups' praise for him. Seeing him receive the higher-ups' praise, Bureau Chief Zhou Enong felt especially proud. He had already long erased his feelings of disdain for Zhao Yu and began praising him non-stop as well. There was no need to mention Peng Xin, Li Beinei, and other members of Team A. Especially Li Beinei, who knew some of the more intimate details of Zhao Yu's stories. Seeing Zhao Yu's completely shameless performance, she was defeated. God, someone who can praise himself so much, how shameless do they have to be? Of course, there were also people who were very unhappy with the results, like team leader Chu Ping of Team B. Because of Zhao Yu's performance, the nursery home burglary case that her team had finally closed was completely ignored, seemingly unimportant. How could she sit there and watch her accomplishments be ignored so blatantly from the higher-ups? If Chu Ping's feeling towards Zhao Yu was jealousy, then for Liu Changhu, it was raw hatred. He had originally thought that Zhao Yu's absence would cause people to dislike him. But it had turned out that Zhao Yu had become the star of the police team. Zhao Yu! Liu Changhu was so angry he felt his bones shake and thought, "Kiddo, just wait. One of these days, I'll destroy you completely." It was noon. Other than the colleagues from Team A, Zhao Yu had also asked Zhang Jingfeng and Liang Huan to go to Frying Fish Restaurant. The two had just left Team A and were not considered outsiders. After the seafood dishes were served, the group started exclaiming in amazement. No one had expected Zhao Yu to be so generous. There were even huge lobsters and abalone were on the table. His generosity made everyone feel overwhelmed. Of course, only Zhao Yu and Li Beinei knew how they had gotten the huge lobsters and abalone. They originated from Zhao Yu's sinful hands. As they had to work in the afternoon, the group did not drink alcohol, but the atmosphere was fiery as usual. At the dining table, the group loudly discussed expected topics, such as praise for Zhao Yu, congratulations for Zhao Yu, discussion on case developments, Team A's outlook, etc. There was only one person in the group who was unhappy, and that was Liu Shuishan, who had teamed up with Zhao Yu to search for the criminal. This fellow remained silent while chewing crab, and his mind was filled with regret and hatred. He regretted not following Zhao Yu to search for Yang Wentao. If he had also gone to Yinpan town, who knows, he might also have had a share in being commended. His own laziness had caused Zhao Yu's unlimited glory and his own insignificance. It was really depressing, but from that moment on, Liu Shuishan decided that he must follow Zhao Yu for future missions. This young man was really something. However, Zhao Yu was acting a little unusual at the moment. Although he still displayed his arrogant and domineering attitude at the dining table, he seemed a little out of sorts during the conversations, as if he had something on his mind. Everyone was a detective, so they could naturally tell, but as they ate the delicious seafood, no one had the time to probe. Zhao Yu definitely had something on his mind, and it was not just one issue. What he wanted to find out the most was if the clue that he had gotten was the key to solving Jian Wenli's case. He had taken the risk of being absent from the meeting to interrogate Liu Pengfei in the detention center with the hope of verifying if his thinking was correct. Moreover, it had been proven in the end that the direction of his investigation could be right again. For now, he was waiting for the investigation results on Miao Ying's side, which was why he looked a little preoccupied. When Hua Hua mentioned losing her key and getting Yang Hong to change the lock the day before, Zhao Yu had already realized something. When Li Beinyi introduced the nursing home robbery case and mentioned the key and lock again, it finally got Zhao Yu's attention. Zhao Yu vividly remembered that in Lin Meifeng's statement, she clearly stated that the door was locked when she entered Jian Wenli's house and attempted to murder her. The gate was locked, and the room door was also locked. Lin Meifeng had used the keys from Lu Pengfei in order to enter. Thinking this detail over now, and combining it with his prior speculation, Zhao Yu seemed to have figured out something. First of all, with his prior use of his lie detector and the evidence obtained by Captain Miao recently, it could certainly be said that Jian Wenli had been strangled to death before Lin Meifeng entered the room and stabbed with the knife. Lin Meifeng was only stabbing a corpse. Then, the problem came. How did the person who killed Jian Wenli enter the room in her house? The room was locked when Lin Meifeng entered. She had used a key to open the door, which meant that the door lock was still intact at that time, and the real murderer did not break the lock to enter. So, how did he enter? In order not to make any mistakes, Zhao Yu carefully reread the records from that year. It indeed clearly stated that there were no signs of Jian Wenli's house lock being broken. In other words, it was highly possible that the real murderer also used a key to open the door. That's right. This was the crucial detail that Zhao Yu was thinking about. If the real murderer had also used a key to open the door, then, where did his key come from? If the origin of the key could be found, then could the real murderer be identified? Therefore, with this thought in mind, Zhao Yu had rushed to the detention center to interrogate Lu Pengfei again. According to Lu Pengfei's account, his house only had 2 sets of keys, each held by the husband and wife. Other than Lin Meifeng for the exchange murder, he had never duplicated the keys for anyone else. After hearing Lu Pengfei's answer, Zhao Yu instinctively thought of a possibility. Had Jian Wenli have any problems in her life? Could it be that she was the one who duplicated the real murderer's key? Or, did the murderer not have the key, and Jian Wenli opened the door for him? Jian Wenli had an affair with the real murderer's love turned to hatred, or he had wanted to steal something from Jian Wenli's house but bumped into her by accident and strangled her to death. However, after some careful thinking, Zhao Yu abandoned that thought. This was because the detectives had done a focused investigation on Jian Wenli's lifestyle and background that year, but had not discovered that she had had an affair. If the real murderer really had an affair with Jian Wenli, the truth behind the case would have been uncovered long ago. Also, Zhao Yu still did not believe that the real murderer and Lin Meifeng's murder exchange were just pure coincidence. It would be too much of coincidence. If it had not been discussed previously, how could it be so coincidental? He had always felt that the real murderer must have had something to do with either Lin Meifeng or Lu Pengfei. Before this, Zhao Yu and Miao Ying had both suspected Lin Meifeng's husband. However, evidence had shown that not only did the two not know each other, but they were not even in the same city. Lin Meifeng's husband was also not related to Yu Zhigan, Lu Pengfei, or Jian Wenli. If it was not Jian Wenli's lover or Lin Meifeng's husband, then, what exactly was the truth? At that time, Zhao Yu saw that he was not able to get any valuable clues from Lu Pengfei and had wanted the prison officers to take Lu Pengfei away. However, just as Lu Pengfei took a step out of the room, a thought suddenly flashed through Zhao Yu's mind and he called him back again. At that moment, the key and the lock appeared again in Zhao Yu's brain, making him rethink the whole situation. He thought of another important point. Lu Pengfei, I want to ask you another question. Zhao Yu wanted to give it a try. The key that you gave Lin Meifeng, where did you duplicate it? As too much time had elapsed, Lu Pengfei had almost forgotten. He thought for a good 5 minutes while scratching his nose before replying with uncertainty, "Officer, I remember that to avoid being seen by familiar people, I probably went somewhere far away to duplicate the keys." That place should have been a suburb at that time. I can't really remember the name, but I can still roughly remember the location. There, Zhao Yu took out a paper and a pen. Draw it out for me. Oh yeah, do you still remember what the person who duplicated the keys looked like? Visit novelbin.c.m for updates. That I do remember. Lu Pengfei held the pen, ready to start drawing as he answered without much thinking. That man was bald, half a head taller than me. Also, he walked with a limp. What? What did you say? Hearing this, Zhao Yu was shocked and gave a deafening roar. Lu Pengfei got a big shock and even dropped the pen and paper on the floor. Initially, Zhao Yu had only thought briefly about the key and lock, but he had not expected that he would actually realize a very important clue about relating to it. Upto.dfrm no/v/e/lb/i/n.co/m. The person was quite young, but looked very ugly. Upon Zhao Yu's request, Lu Pengfei started to carefully recall the appearance of the person who duplicated his keys. He was very tall, almost 6'2". He walked with an obvious limp, and it left a deep impression. His leg was crippled? Zhao Yu clearly remembered that in the report, the police had suspected that the real murderer had some sort of disability in his right leg based on the impression of his footprints. Also, judging from the footprints and strangle marks, the real murderer was a very tall man with long fingers. Everything matched Lu Pengfei's description. Could it be? Do you know him? Zhao Yu quickly asked. Officer, am I a fool? Lu Pengfei felt despondent. I duplicated the keys to kill someone. Would I have gone to someone I knew? Then, when you had the keys duplicated, was there anyone else around? Think carefully. Did you ever leave in the midst of duplicating the keys? Zhao Yu asked again. This, I really can't remember. Lu Pengfei did not understand what Zhao Yu meant and answered anxiously, I was so nervous then, I really can't remember. At what time did you get the keys duplicated? Probably 3 or 4 days before deciding to let Lin Meifeng strike, Lu Pengfei recalled. After the keys were duplicated, I even brought Lin Meifeng to the various points and discussed the details with her. After that, I gave the keys to her. The both of you knew beforehand, Zhao Yu asked as he pondered. Yes. We already knew that it would pour that night. Lu Pengfei answered first. I've already said that many times. TSK, Zhao Yu went into deep thought. A man who made keys? Crippled? And very tall? Could it be Jian Wenli's real murderer was him? Zhao Yu had previously suspected that the real murderer was not someone who was an experienced robber, but a newbie. Could the man who duplicated the keys be the newbie robber? At that point, Zhao Yu felt that he could have gotten to the crucial point of this case. He did not wait for Lu Pengfei to be taken away, and quickly called Miao Ying. After Miao Ying received the news, she was also extremely shocked. The clue that Zhao Yu had found was extremely important. She immediately decided to start investigating the man who had duplicated the keys. However, Miao Ying was very curious. Although she was shocked, she could not help but ask over the phone, Zhao Yu, how exactly did you manage to realize that? Seeing Miao Ying's desperation, Zhao Yu started to be cheeky again and boasted shamelessly, this is heaven's secret, and it must not be revealed. Captain Miao, have you forgotten that I have deities helping me? Before Zhao Yu could finish, the other party hung up. Although Zhao Yu made light of it, his mind was constantly thinking of this matter, even while eating. He did not know if the man who had duplicated the keys was an important suspect. Was the clue that he had found correct? Thinking of this, he started to think of Lin Meifeng again, and that time he had watched her affectionately attend to her child under the rays of the morning sun. He was unsure if the clue he had found would save her. Just as Zhao Yu was feeling worried and uneasy, his phone finally rang. Zhao Yu saw that it was from Miao Ying and quickly left his seat to answer. Zhao Yu, we checked. Miao Ying got straight to the point. The man who duplicated the keys has something very wrong with him. Zhao Yu could hear that the usually calm Captain Miao's voice was trembling and was unusually emotional. Oh. Zhao Yu was even more excited and urged her, tell me quick. This man's name is Mi Aijuan from Moyang Zia Kenzhuang. Miao Ying said quickly, he had an accident while working at a shoe factory when he was younger, and his right foot got cut off by a machine. After the factory closed down, he duplicated keys as a living for a few years. That was when Lu Pengfei looked for him. The strange thing was, 3 days after Jian Wenli was killed, Mi Aijuan stopped working. According to his relatives, he went someplace else to work, and he had left in a great hurry. Oh, Zhao Yu understood that this was probably because Mi Aijuan had been afraid that he would be found out and went someplace to hide. We've thoroughly checked his background. Mi Aijuan's maternal grandmother's house was in Sanlitun, the same village as Jian Wenli. Also, Mi Aijuan grew up in his grandmother's house, so he definitely knew Jian Wenli. His 2 cousins even worked at Jian Wenli's family's garment factory. Oh, Mi Aijuan knew about Jian Wenli's family background and that her family was rich, so Zhao Yu went with the flow and asked, does he have any criminal record? No. That made even more sense. Zhao Yu clenched his fist in excitement and thought to himself, although this fella duplicated keys for a living, but he was a layman in committing theft. Lu Pengfei did not know him, Miao Ying said, but it was highly possible that he knew Lu Pengfei. Therefore, it was very likely that he had tampered with the keys while duplicating them. Yes. Zhao Yu agreed. He was aware that the keys he was duplicating belonged to Jian Wenli, who was rich. Therefore, he secretly duplicated another set with the intention of robbing them. No matter what, this man is highly suspicious. Miao Ying continued, we've already confirmed that Mi Aijuan is currently working at a factory in Jianglan province. We've already applied for a warrant of arrest. We'll be taking the 2 o'clock flight over to arrest him. Great! Wish you a safe journey and great success. Catch this fella quick. Zhao Yu quickly gave his blessings. Usually the other party would have hung up at this point, however, Miao Ying was still on the phone, and it was obvious that she wanted to say something else to Zhao Yu but stopped herself. Zhao Yu understood that Miao Ying was still curious as to how he had realized the significance of the lock and key. As Zhao Yu had previously said many boastful and shameless words, Miao Ying thought that he was just a flashy guy without any substance. She had not thought that he could actually find an important clue, thus she was a little unwilling to accept this based on his subjective perception. Kikik, Zhao Yu laughed evilly and said, what's up, Captain Miao? Are you thinking about where to treat me for dinner after the case is solved? Don't worry, I'm easily satisfied, just a small hotel will do. Huh. Miao Ying cut him off angrily and said, don't even think about it. After this, she hung up again. Waha, not knowing why, but Zhao Yu felt extremely pleased seeing Miao Ying get angry. However, at the same time, Miao Ying's heroic posture and charming way appeared before his eyes, giving him endless good thoughts. Now that there was some development to Jian Wenli's case, Zhao Yu could finally ease the burden in his mind. After returning to the dining table, he returned to his normal arrogant self, chatting jovially and talking nonsensical stuff with his colleagues. As of now, the first issue had been settled, and he was left with only the second issue. After the group had almost finished eating, Zhao Yu suddenly asked, well, everyone, there's something that I need your help with. Does anyone know any expert in antique cash? I have some good stuff to sell. What kind of treasure is it? After Li Bainey sucked up the last of the lobster meat, she looked curiously at Zhao Yu. Senior, why do you always play cards so weirdly? Isn't that a bit wild? Yeah. Peng Xin laughed. What kind of treasure is it? Some sort of heirloom? No, not an heirloom. It's money. Zhao Yu spoke without any hesitation. I have a stash of old bills, 4th generation of RMB printed. All 100 yuan bills. I wanted to ask an expert to get a price estimate for me. Oh. Liang Huan was suddenly interested and asked, Zhao, does the money have any tears in it? Are the serial number all in a row? No tears, just a bit old. Zhao Yu answered, as for the serial numbers, I haven't looked carefully. Wait, he realized he spoke wrong and tried to backpedal, should be in a row, at least part of them. What, are you an expert? Hey! What are you saying? Zhang Jinfeng slapped Liang Huan's shoulder and introduced him. You guys don't know? Liang here has some fame in Qinshan for being a collector of old bills. Huh? Zhao Yu was shocked. It seemed like all the good things were just coming for him. To think that right in front of him was an antique money expert. Don't speak nonsense. Be humble. Liang Huan grinned as he spoke, I mostly collect stamps. Currently I've just been testing the waters with the bills. Zhao, for old bills it's usually a negotiable price, but we need to see the condition first. If it's the 4th generation of RMBs, if there's no tear and has connected serial numbers, it's usually worth 5 times its original value. Usually, it's about 2 to 3 more times, but if it's not pretty, or if the numbers aren't in a row, then it's not worth much anymore. If it's like that, then I'll let you check it out later. Zhao Yu was very hopeful. He really wanted to know how much his bag of old bills was worth, so he asked eagerly, then, how about after we finish our food, you come to my house for a bit? I follow US stories at nvl/by/n.com. Well, Liang Huan furrowed his brows. Later my wife told me to go to the transport office to do paperwork, I can't refuse. How about, in the afternoon since we have to go to work anyway, at work, I'll just go find you? Okay. Zhao Yu nodded. Then I'll bring the money for you in the afternoon so you can check it out. Okay. After the two reached an agreement, the luxurious seafood feast seemed to be coming to a close. Everyone thanked Zhao Yu, then went their own way. Zhao Yu first needed to go home and get the money, so he headed straight for Shunfeng Street. Due to Huahua's sudden arrival the other day, he had not gotten the chance to check the money carefully. As he took the money out, he realized in shock that the money was neatly stacked, and that even though there were some yellow from age, every bill was clean and new. The thing that shocked Zhao Yu the most was that every bill had a connected serial number. My God! Thinking back on what Liang Huan said, he thought, if this money could really be 5 times its original price, then, Zhao Yu immediately opened a stack and counted. Each stack was exactly 100 bills, exactly 10,000 yuan. He decided to just dump out all the stacks out of the bag and count them. There was exactly 20 stacks. Holy sh*t. This is 2,000 yuan? 5 times the amount, then that's a whole 1 million? Suddenly, Zhao Yu felt completely numb. In 2 lifetimes added together, he had never seen this much money. Waha, with of 1 million yuan, couldn't I buy a house? Why am I renting one? I can also buy a car? Or, I can go play in a bar, maybe I could try and act like a big shot now? Gold diggers, come now, come and dig gold from me, muahaha. Zhao Yu got more and more excited at the thought. Yet, after nearly 10 minutes of his excitement, he gradually realized some small things. Weird, years ago, 200,000 yuan would have been a huge amount of money, right? Which, if it's really like this, then, should I go back and check again? 1. To see if there's anyone under there. 2. To see if there are other bags. Zhao Yu had not even slept the night before. He had originally wanted some rest today, but every time he thought about the bills worth millions, he felt like he about to go crazy. How could he sleep? When it was almost time, he took out 2 stacks of cash from the bag and wanted Liang Huan to check it out first. Yet, when he pulled out his key to lock the door, he was a bit worried. Would it be safe to keep such a large sum of money at home? If a thief came in, then everything would be lost. Especially since he had found out that Jian Wenli's culprit may have used a homemade key, he felt even less safe. After much consideration, Zhao Yu put the 2 stacks of cash back into the bag and just took the entire bag to the police station. But the bag was very old-fashioned. It did not matter whether Zhao Yu held it in his hand or under his arm, it clashed badly with his clothing. It would attract too much attention going out with a bag like that. Thus, when he passed by the fruit stand under his house, he stole a black plastic bag without Jiang Dafeng noticing and put the bag inside. Just like that, Zhao Yu carefully took the bag of money to the police station. Li Beini was currently busy writing a report, but the girl's eyes were very sharp. Seeing Zhao Yu come in suspiciously with a plastic bag, she was immediately interested. "Ah, Senior, the treasure's here?" Li Beini strode over to Zhao Yu's desk. "Quick, let me see, what kind of treasure is it?" "Go!" "Yours?" Zhao Yu hugged the plastic bag close and waved her off. "Didn't I tell you? Money, old bills." "I know, Che. What's so bad about looking? Look at you being stingy. You're so influential, and you're afraid I'd try to steal from you?" Li Beini pouted, very unhappy. Zhao Yu was about to explain, but Lian Huan suddenly appeared. "Come, come, Liang." Li Beini was even warmer than Zhao Yu. She immediately greeted Lian Huan and beckoned him over. Zhao Yu opened the bag inside the plastic bag and pulled out a stash of cash. "Whoa!" Li Beini was shocked and spoke out loud, "This much? Senior, how are you so rich?" "Sh." Zhao Yu did not want to cause a commotion and immediately put the money in Lian Huan's hands. Lian Huan pulled out a few bills and spoke, "Looks good, just the color's bad." "Huh? The serial number's connected, good, good. I see, then how much?" Zhao Yu's eyes lit up as he looked up expectantly. Hard to say." Lian Huan furrowed his brows. "You'll have to find the right buyer. With this kind of thing, if someone wants it, not to mention that it's already 4 to 5 times the original value, someone might even do 10 times. But if they don't want it, people wouldn't even buy it for 2 times its original value." "Oh, right, money like this with the connected serial numbers, how much do you have?" "If you have a ton, then that's really amazing." "Oh. Really?" Zhao Yu looked around and noted that there were only the 3 of them in the office before he picked up the black plastic bag and took the leather bag out. "I have 20 stacks. "What, my goodness!" Liang Huan was dumbstruck. "So much!" Li Beini was also shocked and kept exclaiming, "You're really amazing, bro. Are you on the way to striking it rich?" "Zhao." Liang Huan pointed at the handbag and asked Zhao Yu in agitation, "Tell me quick, are these 20 stacks all in running numbers?" Zhao Yu nodded as he zipped open the handbag to show Liang Huan. "Oh my goodness!" Liang Huan was too shocked to close his mouth. "If these 20 stacks are in running numbers, then, you're rich!" Liang Huan exclaimed as he looked at the handbag. At the instant Liang Huan saw the handbag, however, something no one had expected happened. Liang Huan had wanted to see the money, but after his eyes fell on the old yellowish handbag he was startled. Zhao Yu had thought that he was stunned by the money in the bag and even felt pleased with himself, quirking up the corners of his mouth. Liang Huan did not care about the money, however. He stretched out his hands to hold the handbag instead and started to look at it carefully. His eyes were fixed on the butterfly logo on the handbag. He got more shocked and agitated as he looked further, so much so that his arms even started trembling. Huh? Why? Zhao Yu noticed Liang Huan's unusual behavior and was about to ask him, but Liang Huan suddenly grabbed Zhao Yu's wrist. Zhao Yu, tell me quick, he said. This bag, where did you get it from? Zhao Yu got a shock and pouted. Why? What's wrong with this bag? And no, Liang Huan seemed to be possessed by something all of a sudden. After letting go of his hand, he pressed tightly on his own forehead, as though he was unable to understand this unexpected matter. Oh! Li Beinyi was smart and came to the realization. I get it, Liang, is this bag more valuable than the money inside? Antique. Branded. Ah. It was Zhao Yu's turn to be stunned. You gotta be kidding? Could it be there were additional rewards? What? What are the both of you thinking about? Liang Huan shouted, his body trembling in agitation. After he looked carefully at the scene, he pushed Zhao Yu aside and sat on the swivel chair in front of the computer. Then, he snatched the mouse from Zhao Yu and started using the computer. Holy sh**t. What exactly happened? Zhao Yu was a little confused and did not understand what had gotten into Liang Huan. Li Beinyi was also clueless and, together with Zhao Yu, looked blankly at Liang Huan. The computer that Zhao Yu was at was used specifically by the cold case unit. Liang Huan had worked here for half a year and was naturally familiar with it. Shortly after, he found a folder in the computer and opened an image file. The picture that appeared was also a handbag, and the handbag's design, color and logo were exactly the same as the one Zhao Yu picked up. Zhao Yu and Li Beinyi looked at each other. It was their turn to be puzzled. Why was there a picture of a handbag that looked exactly the same? Here, the butterfly logo has a missing edge here. Liang Huan enlarged the image and pointed to it in agitation. See it? Zhao Yu looked at the image and then at the handbag he picked up. The butterfly logo on his handbag also had a missing edge, exactly the same as that in the image. Liang! What does this mean? Li Beinyi could not help but ask. What does this mean? Mianling! Liang Huan's eyes were bloodshot at this point, looking like a madman and speaking incoherently. I'll show you. Look, with this, he minimized the image and then opened another file that was linked to the image. The file was densely filled with numbers. Liang Huan then took out a stack of money and read out the last few digits of the number on the first banknote. There, the first one is 524. Look at the last one, 623. This stack is 524 to 623. He searched the file as he repeated these two numbers, and suddenly the cursor stopped on top of a string of numbers. The three took a closer look and saw that the last few digits of that string of numbers were also 524 to 623. Being overly agitated, Liang Huan did not sit tight and fell onto the ground together with the swivel chair. The table was also tilted over and the objects on the table clattered all over the floor. The helpful Li Beinyi quickly helped Liang Huan up, whereas Zhao Yu's eyes were focused entirely on the computer screen. After he used a mouse to minimize the image and the file, he was shocked to see the name of the folder opened by Liang Huan. The folder's name was Mianling Major Kidnapping Case. At that instant, Zhao Yu felt as though he had had an electric shock. My goodness, how did this happen? Your favorite ovals at n/vl/bin.com. The Mianling major kidnapping case was once at the top of the list of major cases in Qingshan City in the recent decades. As this case was extremely complicated, with extensive impact and numerous victims, it was once named by a leader as the nemesis of the Qingshan police. There was no local in Qingshan City above the age of 30 who did not know about this case. 26 years ago, there was a major kidnapping case in Qingshan City's Mianling town. 5 elementary school students were kidnapped on their bus ride back home. The kidnappers demanded a ransom of 200,000 RMB from each family before they released the hostages. In the end, after the families handed over the ransom, the 5 students disappeared together with the bus driver and could not be found until now. 26 years! The Qingshan police had never stopped investigating this case. The case data had always been stored in the computer of the Key Case Investigation Department of every branch in Qingshan, and it was listed as a prioritized major case. There had even been province-level special agents being assigned to investigate on this case. However, it had been so many years and nothing had been found. The children who were kidnapped were missing. The suspect vanished. Even the ransom money also disappeared without a trace. The 5 children, together with the bus driver, were gone just like that, causing pain and sorrow to their families, and sadness to those who heard. After Zhao Yu had picked up this handbag full of money from the collapsed mine pit, however, everything was different. When Liang Huan was on the cold case team, he had studied the information of this case in detail. The moment he saw Zhao Yu's handbag, he thought of this major unsolved case. According to the information on the computer, the handbag that Zhao Yu picked up was one of the many bags of ransom money that year. The 200,000 RMB inside belonged to the family member of one of the victims. Although Zhao Yu did not have as deep an impression as Liang Huan, he had still heard of the major case. After knowing that he had unintentionally opened the door to this major unsolved case, he suddenly had extreme mixed emotions. At the same time, he also thought of another important thing. Could it be the Cohen hexagram of the system was linked to this major unsolved case? Well, that's all for this part, Trekkers. See you all in the next video.